How's it going? Welcome in. That is like some seriously upbeat lo-fi music. How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the stream. Welcome to get in a little early on daily giveaways. All right, I just had something beep at me on the printer or on the cure station back here. I'm gonna go get that and show you what I got. Be right back. Figure out how this actually fits on here. Welcome in, everybody. How's it going? Hope your week is off to a good start. Does this even go on here? Is it like that? Oh, it's like that. It's like that. It's a little tight. I don't have the whole thing done, but look what we got, everybody. That's the resin print, which is going to be our giveaway. Dragon's not on there perfectly. There's like a little slot back here for his foot to go in to actually stick him in properly, but that's the print. Came out pretty good. I still need to print the base. There's like a disc base that goes on here. And I'm also gonna have to sand the bottom here. You can't really tell on camera, but the bottom is like really rounded because of the amount of resin that went into the building. This thing's actually kind of hefty. I did hollow it out, but it's still pretty thick inside. And so the bottom of it curved a little bit from the print process. So I'm just gonna sand that down smooth, like just sand that all the way down like super flat. And then I need to reprint the disc because the disc failed. But yeah, this came out really nice. Like the amount of detail on the dragon is pretty redonkulous. It's gonna look really nice when we get it all cleaned up. I got a few little bits, like it just came off the cure. Got a few little bits I need to go back and clean up a tiny bit. A little bit I may put a little bit of filler in, just because of the support material. When you pull off the support material, it sometimes leaves like a little scarring in the resin. I don't think it'll be too bad once I get it painted though. But yeah, I gotta figure out where these things go in because there's two little nubs for one's for a foot. And then his other like claw just sort of sits on the corner of the building here, something like that. So I need to figure out where exactly that kind of lines up. But there's our resin print. So yeah, it's going to be really, really neat. So I was able to print this in only 2 pieces. So the dragon comes off, and this is what we'll be post-processing a little bit more, and we'll be painting this up. And I found a theme for this dragon. For the building, I'm pretty much going to leave it as is. I think I'm going to just give the shingles like a really light coat of like a burgundy or like a kind of a slate blue sort of color, but I'm going to leave the building kind of the dark color. I'm not going to do a ton of detail on the building because we want the dragon to be the primary focus. And just to give you an idea of the size, so this is 100% scale of the 32 millimeter model. This would have been the 75 millimeter model. So those are the well, this is like part of this wing right here as far as the size goes. Like it was going to be much, much, much larger. Like this peak right here on this wing is this peak right here on that one. So it was going to go like even taller than that. Like it was going to be massive to do at that scale. I just dropped it on my keyboard. And then to look at this wing, actually, I guess it would go this way, but this hook here that you see over on this end is this hook of that wing over on that side. So it's just like massively huge. So I decided I'm not going to do the full size one. because it's also going to use like just a boatload of resin. So I'm going to clean this one up just a little bit. I'm going to sand down the little mount points here on his feet so that fits in nicely on the roof. And I got a paint scheme for it. I've got it in a browser somewhere. I'll try to find it and show you what I've got in mind for that dragon. But I think it's going to look pretty good. If I can pull it off, that's the key. If I can pull it off, it's going to look pretty great. Hey, RC, good to see you. Kinja got Mark H hanging out. Got Cajun Dragon, Ash Prince, RJM. Good to see all of you. Hope your Tuesday's been good. Let me go try and find that browser source where I had that other picture, because it's going to be really, really slick if I can pull that off. But I got way too many browser windows open here. I got to see if I can find the right one. Nope, not there. That one? Nope, not there. Not there. Anyway, so tonight, because we're going to do coding, tonight's coding, I'm basically going to be fixing the incoming raids. So when people raid into my channel right now, in the past I was saving those into Airtable, and then I was trying to sync it up to where those raids would get copied into my local database, which I switched everything over to for speed. But right now, they're all broken. So anybody that's raiding in right now, it's not keeping track of who's raiding and how many people they brought over. And so we're losing track of that for points, but also for the quarterly giveaways. I've gone in and I've manually added a couple, but I want to make sure that we can actually fix that code tonight. So that's what we're going to be working on. And I'm primarily going to be doing that through Streamer.bot, going through an API that I wrote that's going to put things into Postgres. And so Streamer.bot, when it sees a raid come in, because right now the way that I've been doing it is it was watching for either stream elements to put something in chat, or Own3D to put something in chat saying somebody raided in with so many viewers. And that's not really reliable. There is an event that you can watch that when a raid comes in, you can have Streamer.bot actually trigger like an action. And so what I want to do is I want to send an action to my API that says track that a raid came in, and have that bit of code do the Airtable and do the Postgres work. So we're going to basically work on that tonight, because that's kind of a priority for me. I do have a bit of an agenda that we can go over. Let me bump up the font on this one. So I've also got it working right now where when you do the register command and you put in the email address, it's going to track that you are registered for the newsletters. But what's not working is having like a regular event go back and look at the highest message that you got and keep track of that to make sure that it's updating your points properly. So this part's not working. If you register and then later on you subscribe to the newsletters, what you can do is you can whisper to ID736bot with a message that looks like this. You want to do bang email and then like whatever your email address is, like Ian at, whatever, iandouglas.llc. And you're going to send a message that looks like this in a whisper to the ID736 bot. That will re-register that, you've subscribed to the newsletters and whatever, and it's going to give you like a bunch of giveaway points. So it'll give you 50 points for signing up for the newsletters, just in general, and for registering that email address. It's going to give you 50 points for each of the newsletters that you subscribe to. And then what I want to get working is have it look on a regular basis for the highest message number that it saw for your email, and keep track of that over time through the month of July. So by the end of July, whatever the maximum email you got from that particular newsletter, I'm going to give you like an increasing number of points. So that way people that register for the newsletter and read the newsletters and things like that, you'll also get extra giveaway points. If you missed out on Saturday, it was our 2-year streamiversary. We gave out like thousands of points. It was great. And so we also absolutely crushed our giveaway goal, and we're still going with that. So please feel free to continue to donate. Don't feel obligated to, but if you have the means to, STEM to the Future would absolutely love it. When we hit $1,000, I added a 3D printer. When we hit 1,500, I added a cosplay helmet. And then I realized that the 3D printer wouldn't ship to Canada. And I said, well, tell you what, if we get to 1,750, I'll upgrade the printer to one that will ship to Canada. And like someone immediately like dropped a bunch of money. So we've now upgraded the 3D printer to a Cobra 2 from Anycubic. So it'll be an Anycubic Cobra 2. It's an entry-level printer. It's not meant for like super high-end, super professional, like print farm, kind of operation. It's not like a Bamboo or a Prusa, but it's a really good entry-level printer. And so now that's going to be the Cobra 2. So it's auto bed leveling. It's a decent build size. It's not big enough to do like a cosplay helmet, but you'll be able to 3D print a lot of really good stuff on that printer. And so we've upgraded that. When we get to 2,000, I'm going to add another cosplay helmet. And if we get to $3,000, I'm going to add a resin printer as well. So before the end of July, we've got more milestones. And the more milestones we hit, the more stuff we're going to give away. So feel free to keep exchanging those points for tokens and exchanging the tokens for, or like reserving the tokens and so on. So if you want to see how that works, you got all the instructions up here. So exclamation point register, you need to fill out a registration form ahead of time, and then you can do exclamation point points. If you try to do points exchange or tokens without registering, it's going to tell you have to register. So you got to go fill out a form, fill that out, and then when you go back and do points, it'll pull that form data into the database. And then like sync everything up, and it'll assign all the points and stuff that you need. As you sit here and kind of watch, what we're doing, like RJ, see over here, RJ's got like 6,000 points. So you're getting points just for watching. So over here, for example, RJ has been watching for 20 minutes, and so they got 10 giveaway points. So the longer you watch, the longer you're hanging out and hanging out with us in chat and so on, the more points you're going to get. You can turn those into tokens, reserve those tokens for prizes. So exclamation point prizes will show you everything. So we're up to 7 prizes now to give away in early August, and we'll probably do that giveaway probably the 4th or 5th of August. I'm not sure exactly what day we're going to do that yet. I'm out of town that Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so I'm not going to be streaming on that Tuesday or Thursday, and so I'll probably stream the Friday or Saturday, and you will not need to be present if the tokens that you reserve, if that, however many tokens you reserve for something, if you get chosen for a giveaway prize, you don't have to be in chat, because I'll already have your contact info from exclamation point register. I'll just email you or contact you and let you know that you won. And then from there we'll figure out like shipping and all those kinds of details. But if you are in chat, I'm gonna give you something a little extra, and I'll talk about that when the time comes. I'm not gonna tell you what it is ahead of time, but we'll be giving away extra stuff if you happen to be in chat the night that we do the big giveaway. So you'll get even more if you're drawn and so on. And so you'll be able to exchange your points for tokens up to like midnight July 31st. As soon as it rolls over to August 1st, you're not going to be able to do the tokens command anymore. Well, sorry, you won't be able to do the exchange command anymore. You'll still be able to do the tokens command, see how many tokens you have, and then you can allocate those tokens for prizes until we actually do the drawing. And so the day that I do that stream, so if I stream on Friday, for example, that command, the tokens command, will stop allowing you to exchange or like reserve your tokens. It'll still let you see how you've allocated your tokens, but it won't let you reserve anymore at that point. And so then any tokens that get reserved and go into the giveaway pool, those tokens all go away. But any points that you have remaining that you didn't exchange into tokens, those are going to roll over month to month, and you'll keep gaining those points as you watch the stream and as you interact and so on for the October giveaway. So we'll do another full month giveaway in October. So yeah. So that's kind of where we're at. So Ash has got like a boatload of points as well. Bets, I think you had a ton of points as well. You still have 500 points, but like Bets had like a couple of thousand points, redeemed them for like a couple of hundred tokens, and already reserved a bunch of those tokens as well. So yeah, it'll be exciting to see how everybody sort of uses their points and so on. I think someone actually maxed out the points for like one of the prizes already. So per user, I've got like a limit. If you do exclamation point prizes, it'll show you what those limits are. And someone actually maxed out their points for one of the items already. I think it was Dusty Knuckles reserved all their points for the 3D printer, something like that. So yeah, I think it's gonna be fun. And I'm always happy to take feedback on how these things go. Feel free to ping me on the Discord community and let me know any feedback that you have around like exchange ratios and all that kind of stuff. Happy to be as transparent as possible on that stuff. I think that's pretty much it. So we're going to dive into some code for a little bit. I'll do that drawing here in a little while. Sorry, I just got a Discord message from somebody else, something unrelated. Yeah, anyway. Question about lightsabers. Do I ever make mini sabers? So making a mini saber where the blade collapses into the hilt, those are a little bit harder because of the tolerances on the material to actually make it collapse. I could do just a hilt in a smaller version, but it wouldn't have the blade that extends. One thing I might be able to do is actually just make a blade that just fits inside the thing and it would just always be extended. There wouldn't be a way to collapse it though because of the thickness of the material, because it has to print in a whole bunch of concentric rings and then those rings gradually get smaller and smaller. So it's not a perfectly parallel tube. It kind of tapers down at one end. And so they can like slide out, but then it sort of friction locks from coming all the way through. And so they do taper down a little bit. And just for the thickness of the material, it wouldn't be feasible to do like even 3/4 size. But to take just the hilt and make the hilt like half size or something like that, absolutely possible. Totally possible to do that. Maybe even a little bit smaller than that, but not to have the blade in there as well. Like this is about as ideal as you can get, because these blades, when you think about these rings, I think these rings go around only 2 times, and that's thick enough to actually hold it together. To do it one time, it would be likely to crack and like fall apart. Like as soon as you flick the thing open and like swing it around, just the physics of swinging it around, that plastic would probably crack and break if it was only one layer. And these are only 2 layers around, like per ring. And so you don't really want to go any thinner than that. But because these are concentric and sort of fit in that taper like that, it would be really hard to do at a small scale. But I could do just a hilt. So yeah, hilts are easy. Like the little screw on the end, like the tolerances on the screw, like angle and stuff like that. That's totally a possibility to shrink that down. The printer resolution is fine enough that would work. Shrunk down. Probably no more than about 1/3 of the size. But yeah, you could make like just a little tiny one. So yeah, if you got ideas, send me a message on Discord and let me know. Alrighty. So yeah, we'll do that drawing in a little bit. You can feel free to lurk in the background. You're going to gain watch points and whatever for having the stream on. If you do have questions as we go, feel free to ask. Otherwise, I'm going to be working on the chatbot and working through like getting the raid thing fixed. So I may ask a couple of you, like, hey, can you like go raid in from your channel? But Streamer.bot actually has a test button to like test when a raid happens to see what happens. So we probably won't need people to like raid over. But I do. So one thing that I had in the code in the past was filtering out people that raid over with a party of 1. Because it puts them in a special giveaway, like when you raid over. And raiding over with only 1 person is basically like you trying to get in on this other giveaway that I do just for people that raid and bring a community over. So I still want to maintain that if the raid size is greater than 1, then we do some kind of action. And Streamer.bot will have that ability for us. So one thing that I need to do on this view is actually get Streamer.bot showing up here so that I can show you what we do in Streamer.bot as we work. But other than that, it's mostly going to be once Streamer.bot can fire off that action, then we'll be kind of over here in this editor and see what's going on. Then we can just test everything through Streamer.bot. So it actually looks, oh, you know what? I've actually got a source for Streamer.bot. Let's make sure that works. No, it's Discord. Why are you going to Discord? Where is my Streamer.bot? There's my streamer. All right, let me figure out how big this window needs to be. Unfortunately, I can't zoom in on Streamer.bot, so I need to kind of guess at the proportion of things so that while I'm working in Streamer.bot, you can see what I'm doing. All right, let's try this again. If I make that visible, there we go, Streamer.bot, clicky, clicky, and click off on this. So there's my Streamer.bot. And let's shrink this down this way. There you go. So there's my Streamer.bot window. That's a pretty good size, I think. All right, well, let's dive in and see what we need to do. So when you click on platforms over here, we're on Twitch, and then we can look at the events coming in, and there should be a tab here for raids. And right now it just plays that AOL like welcome kind of message. So when we test and say we're going to test with 5 viewers, we hear the welcome command or the welcome audio. But what I want to do is I want to say like when we have a minimum of like 2 people with no maximum, then I want to add an event. So we'll get that going here. So we're going to add that as a range. So I added that. So now that's supposed to show up. There we go. So, oh, that's too exact. Okay, well, let's change that then. I don't want too exact. I want to go from like 2 to like really, really, really big. So anything more than 2, because the raider is like the streamer who is the raider always counts as one of those viewers. So we want to make sure that people are bringing over at least a community of 2. And then I can tell it to run some kind of action. So these actions get built over here. And what I need to do is I need to look at one of the commands where I'm already pinging my API for something. And then what I want to do is I want to send over how many people raided over, who the raider was, like who the streamer was that was the raider, and how big the community was. And then have that just get back a status of like, okay, we got it. And so I've got a handful of things here, like Nanoleaf getting the colors, setting the colors. I'll probably just mimic this one for now. And we'll just copy this one. So we're going to go into execute code. Unfortunately, you won't see this window unless I add that as another browser source. So when I get to that point, I'll add that as another browser source so you can all see like what I'm building kind of as we go here. And I'll just have to toggle the browser source back and forth here. So I'm just copying some existing code, and then I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add a new command. And I'm going to call this one track incoming raid. And that group is going to be part of... Which group am I going to make that a part of? Make that part of my custom commands. And it's going to happen no matter what. All right. Cool. So now what I can do is I can come in here and I can say, okay, I want to run some C# code. And this is where I need to go add this as a source. So bear with me for a moment while I go add a window capture for Streamer.bot code window. And unfortunately, like I said, I can't increase the font size on this. So hopefully you all can see what I'm building out here. All right, so let's dive in and see what we need to do. So this is a block of existing code where we're taking in some raw input. I'm not sure exactly what Streamer.bot is going to be giving me as far as who triggered the event. So I'm going to have to go look up some documentation for this. At a minimum, I would like to get their username and their user ID. At a minimum, I just need their user ID because I can always give that user ID to Twitch and say, go give me all the details about this user. And then for the debug, we're going to say this person rated in. So this person rated the channel with viewer count or something like that. And I'll have to figure out like what this variable name is going to be. And then we're going to call an endpoint, and we're just going to call this like track the raid. And we're going to pass in some options here. So this is just going to be, and I'm doing this as a GET request to an API, which is not the typical way that we would want to do this. We would typically want to do this with a post because we're creating something. I'm just not familiar enough with C# to know how to like build out that sort of structure of data and pass it over. Once I do, I'll convert all this code. For now, I'm taking kind of the easy way, which is kind of a naive way of doing this. But so I'm going to do a raid count here, and this will be our viewer count, and then the user ID of who rated in. and then we're going to get a response back. And then I want to deserialize that, and the only thing that I care about is did that work or not. So we're going to have a status code, or we're going to have a status value that comes back, and it's just going to be a true or false that yes, that worked. Otherwise, I don't care about any of this. Although, no, I do care about that because I do want to say thank you to the person and let them know. So I don't need their scheme. I just need to send a message saying, thank you, you're entered in the giveaways and so on. So we're going to @mention them. So because this is going to come from the bot, I'm going to do the Twitch Sings icon, which is the little asterisk that my chatbot usually throws out there. And we're going to say, thank you for the raid. You have been entered in the quarterly raider giveaway. And then we just have to return a true value from this to say that it worked. Down here, this is where it's kind of like building out building up the request to send over to my API and getting that data back as the response. And then down here, this is the structure of the data. So the response payload, I just want to get the status code back of did it work or not. If I had any kind of error on my side, I would send back a false. And so I could do something here where we say like, if status is equal to true, then we'll send them a message saying, thank you, you're in the giveaway. Otherwise, I'll just give them a thank you. I'll just say thank you for the raid. So if it didn't work, we're still going to send them a message saying thank you for raiding into the channel. That should be it. So I need to tell it to find my references and whatever, and then we're going to try the compile, see if everything else worked out. Okay, so viewer count doesn't exist. So I have to go figure out what that value is going to be from Streamer.bot to know what we need to go look at. So what I need to do is I need to kind of go back into the main Streamer.bot thing here and go figure out where we get that. So from platforms, we've got our raid. So let's look at this. So when I click on this little question mark, it pops up with a little dialog and it gives me some variables that are going to happen. So we have variables available for the raid event. We have a user, which is their display name. We have their username, which is their Twitch login name, which are pretty much the same thing. And then we get their user ID. And then we have viewers, which is the number of viewers in the raid. So if I come back over here to my actions, then the first thing I want to do here is I want to go to Twitch and I want to go to user and I want to say, I want to get user info for the target, I think. Or do I even need that? I don't think I'm even going to need that. So if I go back into execute code and we go back over to that window to see, so we get the username, we get their user ID. I don't need the scheme any longer. Oh, but I do need, so we're not going to call it raw input anymore. This was just going to be viewers. And this is going to come in as an integer. And this, we're just going to call this like viewer count. So we're going to get the number of viewers. I'm not going to need to initialize that status. So we get a variable called viewers, and then we have the username and the user ID. I'm printing out the username in the log just to say, you know, this person raided over, just so I have an extra log that it happened. So if something does break, I can always go back through the logs and parse the logs and find the stuff, and then just populate the database by hand. Otherwise, I'm taking their user ID and I'm going to pass that to my API with that viewer count that came in, and I'm just going to call that raid count. And then we get the response back. We're going to log the response so that I can see in the log if something failed. And then we're going to unpack the response, and then we're going to look at the status. And if it's true, and we're going to have to spell this correctly, if status is true, then we're going to say, thank you for the raid. You've been entered in the quarterly raider giveaway. So only if we get a response back from the API that we stored everything properly, then we're going to tell them that they were in the giveaway. Otherwise, we're just going to say thank you for the raid. And then we return true. So now if I compile that, I can't explicitly convert from a type of string to a type of integer. Oh, right, because I made this toString. Is there a toInteger? Let's try to see if that works. Nope. Object does not contain a definition for toInteger. All right, so I need to figure out how to take this string that's coming in as because they're just calling it viewers. Although I guess I could just track that as a string. I guess that doesn't matter. I can just do that as a string anyway. It doesn't matter because I'm just printing it out. It's going to end up in here as a string anyway, so it doesn't matter if it's a string or an integer. All right, so the name viewer count does not exist in the current context. So we have, oh, I called it viewer count, not view count. So compile that. All right, so that worked. So now I can save and compile. And then we're back to just this window. So it should just go execute that code. So the other thing we need to do then is wire that up. Over here, we go to platforms, we're in our raid tab. So when somebody raids in with more than 2 or more people, then I want to tell it which action I want to run. And for this, I just need to go find that. And again, because Streamer.bot's pulling up different windows, I can't show you the list here. But it's basically going through the list of actions. So I just need to find the one that I made. What did I call it? It was under custom commands called track incoming raid. There it is. All right. So now if I were to try to test this, it would actually try to call the API, which that endpoint doesn't exist. So I should get back a 404 in this case. So we didn't get the welcome kind of thing anymore. So we need to figure that out as well. Does it not always play that? But let me go pull up the log file in the editor, and we'll go see what's happening in the editor. Or we'll go see what's happening in like kind of behind the scenes here. So let me go pull that up in the editor. Let's go over to our editor here, and let's see what we see. So this is all the information that comes back from Streamer.bot, and it is an enormous amount of information when I have it running all the time, because it's constantly trying to track like who's watching the stream and stuff like that. Okay, so we got a 404 because this endpoint doesn't exist in my API yet. So we're going to go build that next. Let me do one more thing over here. I'm going to go to streams. So what I can see coming in is I see raid count equals 5 with a UID of some user ID. So that worked okay. So that test actually worked fine. Cool. All right. So let's go take a look at actually building out that endpoint. So let's see. So that's going to be in the code over here called Streamer.bot input API. Inside here, I've got a main.py. All right. So we're going to do an app get, and I'm just going to do a pass in here for now. Oops. It's defaults, and then we're just going to do a pass command. All right. So we're going to call this, what did we call it? Test or track raid or track raiders. I forget what we called it in Streamer.bot. So let's go back over there and take a look. In that action code, where did that go? Oops. Calling an endpoint that was just called track raid. Okay, so track raid. And inside here, we were going to get a viewer count. And that variable name is called raid count. So we're going to have raid count. We're going to get that as a string, and then we have their user ID. And so now if I do that test in Streamer.bot again, what we should see happen over here in the log is that we successfully call that API. So I'm going to go back over to Streamer.bot, and I'm going to try and test that happened. So we still don't hear so we still don't hear the welcome message anymore. So we're gonna have to try to figure that out. Like, why don't we hear that sound? But over here in the log, it says there was an error running the instance object reference not set to an instance of an object. All right, so what happened with that and how do I debug that? So I'm still learning C# as we go. So if anybody in chat happens to know C# and has worked with Streamer.bot, feel free to holler at me and let me know. Dusty Knuckles, good to see you. You missed the notification I was streaming. Yeah, no worries. Iopta or Lupta. You can tell I'm not a streamer because I can read RAID and think we're lashing disk drives together. I was actually looking at something on Amazon Prime Day for NVMe drives to see if someone had made like an enclosure where you can just like pop a bunch of drives in and turn it into a RAID. The most I found was something that would take 2 of those drives, but it would be pretty neat to build a RAID out of those NVMe drives for sure. You have one for 2 drives, yeah. Or OWC has one, yeah. And I did see one on the Prime Day thing for 2 drives, but I want to do like 4 drives or more than just 2. But we'll see. We'll get there. I'm sure we'll get there someday. All right, so I need to go kind of debug this a little bit more, and it looks like the problem is. What problem be? Oh, well, I'm not actually sending anything back in my API, so that's part of the problem. So let's go over to this again. So right now I'm doing a pass, which is effectively returning a none value. So there's nothing for it to actually unpack on the way back. So if I do like a status true, so that API is restarted. So if I come back over here, yeah, we're done with that one. Don't need to save that. All right, so now let's go back and we'll take a look at the log when I try to test that again. Okay, so we got a 200, okay. All right, so over here we got the status true. So because I sent back a status true, this got back a status true, and we see the mention here at Rollers, thank you for the raid, you've been entered in the quarterly raider giveaway. So that worked. If we send back a false, so let's go back and try that. If I set this to a false value and save that, then my API restarts. And if I try and test that again, now we just say, or all we see now is thank you for the raid. You like my hat? Thank you. I'm originally from Canada. It's a Roots hat from Canada. Cool. So if we get back a false, we know that we're going to get the right message in chat through Streamer.bot saying thank you for the raid. But we're not seeing the additional chat message saying you're entered in this other giveaway. Because everybody that raids into my channel and brings over their community, I want to put them in a special drawing where quarterly they can they get some kind of like special kind of giveaway. In the past, it's been something 3D printed and airbrushed for them. All right, so we know that works, and we know based on that value that's coming in. If I try to raid over with just 1, we hear the welcome message, but we don't see anything happening in chat. So we're only going to see that if this view count is 2 or higher. Then we see the thank you. We got your raid, and we're going to track everything. So, so I'm going to go back and just default this to true. And then we test this again, and we see the other message saying you're in the giveaway. All right, so all that's working so far. Let's go back over here, because I think I've got an extra space in there. Seems like we have an extra space after their username. Like if we come in and we take a look at what's actually coming back. Oh, it's only got one. It's only got 1 space. Okay. It just looked like there was extra space between their username and the chat message. But all right, so we're good there. All right, so now what we need to do is we need to actually go build this API endpoint. And so what I want to do here is I want to track in Airtable. I have a streams database, and inside that I've got a raids table. Raids table, and I want to track in there that raid actually came in and how many people they brought over in that raid. So I have a streams database with a raids table, and then I also want to track in Postgres. And that table is called user underscore raids. The user underscore raids. Yes, it is the user underscore raids. User underscore raids table. All right, so this table has fields of their UID, the number of raiders. I'm also going to track the raid message, but we don't really need the raid message anymore because we're going to be getting the actual raid count. But then I also need a stream ID, and then created at and updated at timestamps. Now, so that means I need to go get the stream ID, or doesn't exist. So in that table, I have to see in that streams table, basically, all we have in here is we have an ID value, which is an auto increment, which I don't have to insert into. But there's a field in here called stream underscore date, and then like updated at timestamps. And I think I've already got code that will go create a stream in the Postgres database and get back an ID. And then we can just use that for this call for that stream ID. So we should be good there. Is it bad that I stopped taking online classes since I started watching Twitch? I mean, it depends on your education goals. I can't tell you one way or the other that it was a good thing or a bad thing. If it was a bad school, then it was maybe a good thing. If you're trying to get a degree and watching Twitch is holding you up from that goal, then I would say it's a bad thing. So, like a lot of answers you're going to get from me on this stream, it depends. No, it really does depend on your education goals and like what you're hoping to do, and what you're hoping to get out of it. And if sometimes you need the distraction, though. Sometimes it's okay to kind of take a day or whatever and kind of recharge. And if that's just sitting back and watching some streams on Twitch or whatever, that's fine. But if you've stopped going completely and all you're doing is watching live streams all day, every day, then there may be more productive ways you could spend your time. But again, it depends on your goals and life goals and education goals, all that kind of stuff. You're done getting degrees. I'd like to learn something useful. Okay. What kind of degrees do you have? Like what kinds of degrees have you already got? Or what degree were you most recently attempting to get that you no longer want to get? Because I think that's kind of an important thing to know too, is based on that education goal of like, this is what I want to be doing. If you're, currently enrolled in a degree program that you just don't care about anymore, then yeah, get out. Save yourself some money, from getting like way into debt, or feel compelled like you have to get into a particular career because you've spent money on a degree that you don't like. My advice would be do what's going to make you happy. But there is a level of responsibility that I think that everybody needs to kind of have as well. So there's a balance to strike around the responsibilities that you have, especially financially if you're taking out student loans to pay for the school. But everyone's circumstance is a little different, so I can't really judge one way or the other. It wouldn't be my place to judge. And so I think only you can really make that decision. I think asking other people to make the decision for you or to try to validate your decision, I mean, that's not really a fair position to put others into. But if you're not happy doing what you're doing, find what is going to make you happy and go do that. Or go try it at least. See whether it's actually going to make you happy. I don't know of too many places that will pay you to just sit around and watch Twitch all day, though. So if you need an income, then you need some kind of vocation that you can go do that. I have a crappy computer networking degree and just about paid for itself. All right, that's good. I mean, that's good progress in life, in my opinion. If it's paying for itself, then great. That problem is kind of solved. No worries. You're not dumping that on me. I'm happy to provide my perspective. It's just it's not always somebody's place to tell you like what to go do, because ultimately it's your decision what you want to go do, and that, you know, how that lines up with your actual goals in life is something only you can answer. Like as much context as you try to give, you know, someone on a stream or, you know, some stranger, say like, hey, can I ask you a question, and you throw that question at them, there's only so much conversation they can really have with you about that. So at the end of the day, it's still your decision to make. So, like I said, I'm always happy to give my thoughts and ideas, but at the end of the day, the decision is yours. You can agree with my opinion or not. You can take my advice or not. You know, all I can do is offer the help. But it's not my place to tell you what to think or what to feel or what to do. That's ultimately yours. It's meant as a throwaway remark. No worries. I mean, that's why I'm here. I love just helping people and offering perspectives. So, but yeah, if you're just asking rhetorically, you know, feel free to just throw that in the message. Otherwise, I mean, I tend to I try really hard to interact with folks in chat, and if someone asks a question, I'm going to take it at legit face value and do my best to try to answer. So. Cool. So we got our API endpoints. Now we just have to figure out like what are we tracking in Airtable and that kind of stuff. So in Airtable, I'm also going to have to look up the stream. So I need to get or set the stream date. And that's going to be, so I'm not getting a stream date from Streamer.bot. So I'm going to have to go get the current date. So I'm going to get current date in not UTC. I want to get like local time in year, month, day format. Oops. All right, GitHub Copilot, go do your thing. So we're going to do stream date equals, ta-da. Now the datetime.now in Python is going to give me UTC time. So I do have some code that will convert that. And that code is called, it's in my utility method. Or did I copy it over? I might have copied it over here, didn't I? Nope, apparently not. So we got like UTC to local. So now I can take that date, time, and I can do UTC to local. Pass in date, time now. That should give me back a datetime object and give that back to me then in year, month, day format. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print that out. I'll just print all this stuff out, and then we'll return back that true. So when I call this in the test button over here in Streamer.bot, I'll see whether this worked or not. So. Yep, that worked. 7-Eleven, yep. Okay, so that worked. So now we have a stream date. So now we can go look up in Airtable, do we have an entry for our stream in Airtable? Now it should. So anybody that's ever come into my stream while the loading screen kind of thing, like I usually do like a 4 or 5 minute thing before I actually go live. Just that way, if you follow and you join right away, any pre-roll ads that Twitch makes you watch, they're done before I actually like jump in and say hi to everybody. So that's why I play like a full like 3.5 minute song or almost a 4 minute song. So that's why that song is so long. So that'll get rid of any possible pre-roll ads that you have to sit through. But one of the things that you would see in chat while you're sitting on that screen is you see me do this exclamation point clip command, and that should be creating an entry over here in the streams table for that given stream. So if I come over here, let me go show you what I see in my browser. I'm going to shut all these off and go back to the browser. So this is what actually gets loaded up in the database, and we can see over here, sure enough, we have a stream date for today, and what time I started and so on. So if my clip command works, then it should generate this entry in Airtable for me. So in the code over here, I should just be able to say like, go get the current stream or just go verify that that stream date is actually there. So what we can do over here is, actually, I don't even need to create it in the streams table, but over here in the browser, I do have the raids table, and this is where I was tracking like how many people raid over and who it was. So like the other day we had 2 raids come in, one from CM Griffing, one from Astro Canuck, and approximately how many. So this is where I was like manually putting these things in. And typically it would like track the entire thing coming in. And then I've got a bot that kind of breaks up these dates into quarters. And I say, okay, go get somebody for quarter 2. And it went through everybody from the April, May, June. And it actually picked this raid from Cratrix Brit. So I'm going to be doing something for Cratrix Brit at some point. Since then, we've effectively had 2 raids that were more than one person, because we have had several people just raid over with a single person, but those people are going to get filtered out now through Streamer.bot. So it's only going to call my API if you're bringing over an audience of at least 2 people. Because if you're raiding over alone, you're not really bringing a community, you're just bringing yourself, and that doesn't really count you as a streamer bringing over a community. Those are the people that I want to kind of reward by doing this extra giveaway. So all I need to track in the database, or in Airtable then, is in the raids table. So I have an Airtable object. Should have had. Did those not copy over? Those did not copy over into here. I thought I had Airtable available in this code. Take this off screen for a minute because I need to go look at some config files that would otherwise expose some APIs, like API keys. Obviously, I don't want to do that on stream. So bear with me for a moment while we take a look at what we have available to us. So in my utility code, it goes over. Right. I'm just going to copy them from the main chatbot, I think. Has ever had an issue showing an API key on a live stream before? I mean, I've leaked some API keys in the past, but yeah, you go in and roll it to something else. It's not really that big a deal. All right, so stay on track, stay on target. I need to go into my main bot here, and I need to go get my Airtable set up here. So I need to copy that into my main. And these are just the table names. These are not API keys. My Airtable API key is going to come from this config file. So, and this is just going to sort of pre-build the connection that I need for each of these other like Airtable databases that I have. And the only one I need right now is the streams, because that's where I'm tracking the raids. All right, so I have AT streams. So over here, we got AT streams. And yeah, we'll do an insert. So we're going to go into the raids. So I have to tell it that this is going into the raids table, and then we give it the structure of what we're actually storing in Airtable. So in Airtable, I basically need to go look at all of these fields that we have and see. So we have the username, we have the date rated, which is just the stream date, and then we have a raid message, which is this person rated with so many viewers. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to copy the format of that right now. And we're just going to call this like raid message. And I'm going to do something like this. So we're going to have their username here. And this will be like username. And that's going to come from my Postgres database. And they rated in with some quantity of viewers. And we were calling this raid count. I'm going to call this raid underscore count because Python. uses snake case, so I'm going to do that. So we're going to build that as a message. Now I need to go get my user. I'm going to call this like PG user, so I know it's coming from Postgres. So the first thing I need to do is I need to take that UID and I need to go get that user. So we're going to do PG user, or just, yeah, PG underscore user. And all I'm doing is I'm doing a lookup on that user ID. And it should give me back a user object with everything else I need, I hope. So let's go look how I'm using the who is elsewhere. Uh-oh, that's the only place I'm using it? Doing a pgdb get user. Okay, this is what I'm going to call instead. So I'm going to go build a user object with these things. So it's going to go get the user. I'm just going to have an empty username to start, because once I look them up, I'm going to have the actual user in there. The problem is if it's somebody that's rating over that I don't have in my database, I'm not going to have any data about them. That's going to be kind of a problem here. If it's somebody brand new and I don't know them at all and they've never been in my chat, I'm not going to have them in my database. So to go and look them up is going to fail. If I use my authentication key to Twitch, I think I can go get my user, or I can ask the Twitch API for user details about the user, but we would have to go look up the Twitch API documentation for how to do that. So Twitch API to look up a user by ID. Oops, by ID. So we have the user ID. I want to look up the rest of their, like, I want to get the, I don't want to look them up by the display name. I want to get the display name by looking up their user ID. Getting the user ID. I've already got the user ID. I want to do the opposite. There we go. How do I find the Twitch username from a user ID? The other way around. So I actually have to authenticate to the Twitch API. I have these credentials. So this is not the end of the world to have to do this. Client ID, yeah, I have all these details. So I could do this. Yeah, we're just doing a request call here to go look this stuff up, so. And we need broadcaster name. We would just need like display name or whatever at that point. Accepted, but it's got 0 votes, so somebody had a problem with it and downvoted it. Hey, Helmer John, good to see you. Watching this makes me want to code. Well, good. All right, so let's figure this out. So I need my channel ID, and I need all of my credentials for Twitch, which I can go get. I store those in an ongoing file, so as they renew with my main Python chatbot, hey Winsing, good to see you as well. Then we will have, I'll have access to all the credentials I need here. The grant type. Client credentials, yeah, that's really all I need. So yeah, so it's kind of building a lot of this for me. So I'm just going to go build a method to abstract this for me here. Let's just go build a method for that. All right. So doing other asynchronous codes, so I'll just make this asynchronous, and we'll say lookup username. Actually, I'm going to preface this. I'm going to call it like Twitch UID to username. I'm going to pass in the UID, and then we'll do everything else in here that we need. So this data here. Let's paste this in for now. Obviously, this isn't going to work yet. We'll get there. So I need my channel ID. So this is going to be so I have this available in my utility, I believe. Or is that in my config? Yeah, it's in my config file. All right, so that's basically going to convert my username into my user ID, because that's the channel ID that I'm doing this lookup through. So what I need to do now is authenticate myself as this channel, basically, because you can't just call the API. You have to be a user of Twitch and fill in all these other details and stuff like that. So I need to go look at my config file. And before I just realized I'm not actually showing my code editor any longer, but that's fine, because I do need to go look up some stuff in my config that I don't want to show on stream. So bear with me for a moment while I go find that. Let's see. It's from my getting them from my environment. I'm doing stuff off camera. I just don't want to show you all what I'm looking at, because it's sensitive information here. So I'm opening that file and getting those details out of it. That's from my access token and my refresh token, which I do need later. In the client secret, those are different values than an access token and refresh token. So I need a client ID and a client secret. Where do I store those? Do I even store those anymore? I used to have a client ID and client secret, but I think because of how I'm doing the authentication, I don't even track those anymore. Let's see. What's up, Dusty? Yeah, we'll do that drawing at the top of the hour. So give me about 20 minutes. We'll do that drawing. Or store my client ID and my client secret. Got my tokens there, but that's not the files that I want. A couple of different options. Bot has a client ID and secret. I think I'll use those. Just means I have to bot value. So I look at my client ID. Credentials. So hopefully that'll work. The only thing I'm worried about here is if Twitch has changed this API and what we just grabbed off of Stack Overflow is not quite what we need to do any longer, because Twitch does change their API from time to time. But we'll see where this goes here. All right, let me close the config and let me show you what I've got going on over here. All right, so I'm pulling in all these other details from my... Oh wait, those aren't coming from there. They're coming from my config file. So these are coming from config. So I need to do ID 736 bot. So it's going to use my bot account to actually go authenticate. So we have the client ID, client secret. The grant type is going to be client credentials. I need to import my request library. But I will. I don't. Post that over. We're going to send over the payload, and hopefully we get everything back. Now we have a client ID. That client ID is going to be my bot client ID. That access token. Okay. Yep. So we're sending all of this over to Twitch. We're getting back an access token, and then we're making another call to Twitch using that access token to say, hey, based on my client ID, go make this call. In retrospect, I have access to this access token for my Ian Douglas 736 account. So I could skip this whole lookup because I have that access token already. So I've got some code basically that rotates through and goes and grabs my credentials, and it puts them in this credentials.temp file, and periodically, because the credentials that you get back from the Twitch API, that if you were to do this call, the access token that you get back is only good for 2 hours. And so I have a recurring thing in my bot that before that 2 hours runs out, it actually uses the access token and the refresh token to tell Twitch, like, hey, based on this old token, go get me a new access token. It gives them another access token, another refresh token, which it then writes into this credentials.temp file. So I could just go open that file and pull those details out, which is kind of what I'm doing here. So this is where I'm grabbing that access token and the refresh token, and then I have access to my access token from there. So I think I'm just going to do that because that'll be way faster. And I don't have to do this first lookup call. And then I just do everything as Ian Douglas 736 and not as the bot. So that get creds is coming from my utils or my utilities. So that is get creds. So then it's going to go read that. It's going to grab my access token, which we're going to pass in as the bearer token here. And that client ID, this is where we now use streams for Ian Douglas 736. That's my user ID. So it's saying use my user ID with this access token to now go find somebody based on a channel ID. In this case, I want to go look up the UID of the person that raided into my channel. So they should be a streamer. So looking this up as a broadcaster ID should work. And then we're going to get that response back, and it should give us all kinds of information about them. But the only thing I really care about is their display name. I don't care about anything else. So I just want to print that out and make sure that we get that back. And then, yeah, we'll just return that username. So we'll print it out and then we'll return it. And then, so down here in that other endpoint then, so this is the code that I can run that says, like, go give everybody like a certain amount of points. This code gets called by Streamer.bot every 10 minutes to say, here's a list of viewers, and then I go give everybody like some chunk of points. And then this is where we were tracking our raid. So what we need to do here is we're going to do an await on that Twitch UID to username. We're going to pass in that UID, and we should get back just their username. So we should get a Twitch username, at which point now I could do PG user where I go build. So this is basically going to say my get user command here basically says go look up that user in my database, and if they're not there, create them. So if it's the very first time they've ever been to my channel since I started building out this database, it's going to go make an entry for them and then give me back that object. And then I can use that object for tracking other things. And that's where we get that username. So we have our raid message. So let's just make sure that that much works so far. So Python code is compiling okay. So I'm going to go over to Streamer.bot and I'm going to try and just test that coming in. It's telling me that file is too old. It shouldn't be correct. That happened. asking me. Yeah. So I need to go stop you. So I'm stuck in a loop now where that's not working. The whole get credentials thing that I thought was going to work is actually not working. So let me source me chatbot. For some reason it thinks that the file is too old and that it needs to go fetch new credentials, which is not the case, because the file is less than the 2 hours old. So yeah, I'm a little curious why that didn't work. Using this is, unless is the code that's looking at the age of the file looking at the age relative to UTC or relative to local time? Let's go figure that out. So I've got the credentials there. You know what? I need to just grab the data out of that file. Because I know the file's already good. So I'm going to go look at what that get creds method is doing. Let's see, get creds. Where's my get creds method? I don't want to refresh it. I just want to go grab whatever credentials are in that file now. It's basically this code right here. Okay. So in here, this is where I'm looking for the file name, and then it's looking at the time of it and seeing if it's more than, as long as it's less than 2 hours old, then go ahead and read that file and grab the tokens and stuff out of it. This is really all I need is this block of code right here. So I'm just going to like manually read this in ourselves instead of calling that code. So now we've got access token. Really care about the refresh token, but we'll read it anyway just for completeness. And then stripping that off, so I don't need to strip it again. So that should work. But I do still think that I need to stop need to go kill the Python process that was launching the node process that runs the authenticator for me to actually go get new credentials, which I don't need to run anymore. So I just need to go get the process ID and then go kill that. So kill that process ID. And then if I go back into screen, it's still really stuck. Why is it still stuck? Didn't actually kill the process, so tell it a little more forcefully to please go away. There we go. Okay, so now if I try and test this again, it still did not work. I'm still doing stuff off camera. I apologize for that. I'm still trying to debug. Okay, so that's back up and running. So now when I hit test, okay, so now I get a message. Okay, so now I need to give it the right path to that file because it's not in the current folder. I need to go get it from one level up. So now when I test this again, to be a type of string or bytes, not a class of integer. Okay, so what's happening now is we're trying to use that user ID. It's coming in, I think, as a string on our endpoint. No, the UID is coming in as an integer. So we're going to track that user ID coming in as a string instead. Just set it to empty as a default. Test this again. Okay. So now it must be of a type string or bytes, not a class of integer. So it still thinks that somebody somewhere is treating that, or that it needs to be treated as an integer. Okay, so the code up here that we're doing, something is trying to treat it as an integer when we want this to be a string. Anyway, let's find out. It's looking at the header, and it's looking at the client. Oh, this needs to be a string. So we made some progress. So we have an error now that we're not unpacking it properly here. But we should be able to just print out data and see what we see here. So give me an idea of what the structure of that payload is coming back. Unauthorized. Client ID and the OAuth token do not match, but they should. Why do not match? It's basically saying this access token doesn't match this. Okay, which means I am going to have to go back to what we were setting up before. We had the client ID and the secret, and we were going and grabbing an access token for the bot and doing all that. So, bummer. I was hoping we could have shortcut that whole process, but apparently not. All right, so we had some ID 736 client ID, ID 736 bot client secret. And we're going to go put these down here. So there's my client ID, and then I have my client secret, and then I don't need these variables up here. That grant type, we're just using one time, so that doesn't need to be in a variable. We can just define it here as a one-time string. We can get rid of that line of code. All right, so we're going to pass these things in, and then this access token coming back here is what we're going to pass in here, but this is going to be based on ID 736 bot. And then see whether this lookup works. So we'll go test that. We still get an unauthorized. Client ID and OAuth token do not match. So it didn't complain about getting this access token. Let me just print that out. Let's see what we're actually getting here. I actually want to print out the response.body and the access token. Actually, I'll just do response.text as well. I'll just print that out. Let's see what we get here. Yep, so we do get an access token. We get an expiration date, and we get a token type of bearer. And then I'm printing that out properly. So we're getting the access token here. This part's working just fine. When we try to set up this bearer token authentication, then go back to Twitch saying, I want to go look up this user ID, these things don't match. So the access token that we just got for ID 736 bot doesn't match. So I'm going to try my main streamer account because I'm wondering if something happened there. Now I'm also getting an unauthorized message. The client ID and the OAuth token do not match. So it's still telling me that these values don't match. What's that? It should also have an expiration. Yes, it does. There's one thing I've learned with auth. It's not something you can shortcut easily. Better to just make the auth flow as easy and seamless as possible. Yeah. Yeah. How am I going to do this? Well, we have the, you know what? We get the username from Streamer.bot. So why don't we just pass that username in, and then we don't need any of this. We don't need any of this at all. So we'll just stop doing all this. Come up here. We'll get rid of this stuff. We don't need any of this any longer. We'll just take all this stuff out. And we'll just take the username in when we get the UID. We'll just pass in the username here, and that'll be a string. We'll just do that. All right, so let's go back over to Streamer.bot and go see how to do that. So let me shut off the code here. So this is where I was testing things out. So go back to Actions, Execute Code. We'll open up that little window. Streamer.bot. So we are getting the username in. We're just not passing it to our API, so we'll just pass it in here. So we're going to pass another one that was just username, and we're going to pass in that username here. So we're just calling that username. I don't know why I didn't think of that in the first place, but if Streamer.bot's already looking up that information for us, then there's no reason we need to also go look that up as well. So now if I go back over to VS Code and I go back over to our log file, scroll down here and we'll just see what we get now when we call that code. So go to platforms, go back to test over here. All right. So now we're getting all of this stuff in. We're getting this fake user ID. We're getting a fake username. And then it's failing on the Python code because the Python code's broken now. So let's go fix that Python code because we don't have this anymore. So the Twitch username is basically going to be this username coming in here. So that's just going to be UN as our username. And let's go rename that because that's a little ambiguous. So we'll just call this username. All right, so then we go grab our stream date. All of this should still work. So if I do that test again, oh, something else failed. Airtable doesn't have an insert command. It's because it's called create, not insert. It started to work. Unknown field name called raids. That's not the right field name over here. So if we go back to the browser and we see what we have access to in that raids table. So we have a username, we have the date rated, and we have a raid message. So these are the field that we actually need to set in the code. So back over here in the code, I was trying to, the autocomplete GitHub Copilot thing was failing on us here. So this wasn't called raids. This was just raid message. So we need to pull in that raid message first. We need to build that message first. So we have our raid message, which is going to be raid message. We don't need the UID. We had username, not UID. And this is just coming in as username. And then we have our stream date, but this field was called date rated. So now this should create properly in Airtable for us. Let's try that again. We'll do a test. Wait. Did it randomly pick Stephen Poole, or did Stephen Poole actually just raid over to us just now? I think it was fake. It said Stephen Poole raided over with 2 people. Is Stephen Poole actually here? Or did this actually go find Stephen Poole? That would be very interesting if it did that. All right. So that worked. It created that thing in Airtable. So we're all good here. So now we just need to track this in Postgres. So we have a table called user raids, and we need to go track the information in there. Now that table, we need to go build that stream. All right, let me close down some of these things. We don't need that code anymore. You don't see them? Yeah, it's interesting that it's random though, because like all these other ones that it was sending over, like I'd never heard of any of those usernames. This is the first time I've seen Streamer.bot actually go pick like a random person who's actually part of the community. So interesting. All right, so now we need to go look at my database code, and that is going to be models. No, that's just the model code. What's my actual? Where did I actually put my database code? Gubby. It's not models. It's activity. There it is. So I should have a method in here to do like to go get or create a stream. Oh, well, I've got a method to create raid. So does that go and build a stream if I don't have a stream? No, so that expects a stream to exist, but then I have this create raid method already. So that'll save us some time. So we'll just call that here in a minute. So that's going to create a raid based on having a stream. Save user question, calculate your points, calculate your tokens. Oh, I was going to do that giveaway on the hour. I'm 3 minutes overdue. Exclamation point giveaway in chat. I just realized this view doesn't have the giveaway message on there. So if you want to get in on the giveaway that we're going to do here momentarily. So go ahead and do this down here. Exclamation point giveaway in chat. I'll give everybody 2 minutes to do exclamation point giveaway, and then we'll do a giveaway for the day. Sorry, I know I'm overdue. All right, so you got 2 minutes. While you do that, somewhere in here I've got some code to like go build a stream. Thought I did. Stream. Get or create stream. It's like I was building my own ORM or something here. All right, so what we want to do here is we want to do a stream based on that stream date. Now, is that the only PGDB? Is that the only argument that I need? Is just the stream date? Yep, just a stream date, and then I get back an object. And then that object, then we're going to use for create raid. So once we have that, then I can do raid equals create raid. There it is. So I got to await this one because all this code is asynchronous. So our PG user, we're going and fetching here. The raid count we have coming in from up here, and then we have our stream object. And that should then track that we created that raid. Now, what do we do with it when we create that raid? So we're coming in here, we're entering that, we're adding it into the database, we're appending it to the user, and then we're committing it. So we're not actually assigning the raid points on that. For that, we've got this assign raid points method that I'm going to call next. So this is where we need the raid object plus the user object. And this is basically saying, you know, based on how many users are coming over, how many points to give them. So here we were checking that they were sending over at least 2. So I want that to be greater than or equal to 2. And then basically you're going to get 1.5 points for everybody that you raid over. So if you only raid with like you and your bot command, you're only going to get 2 points because it's going to round it up. So you're not going to game the system by raiding in with, you know, you and a bot command. But if you raid over with like 20 people, that's worth 30 points. So it should make this how many raid points we get, and then we're assigning that. But then I need to db commit that as well. So I'm going to make sure that we commit that change. And then we'll turn that points, and that tells us how many points you were given. All right, so for that I need, here it is, assign raid points. So I just need the user object and the raid object. So we're creating a stream. From that we're creating a raid, and from that we're assigning your points. So we're going to do an await pgdb where we have the user and the raid. PG user and the raid. So yeah, we had the PG user and the raid. Okay, so we should be good. In theory, we have everything we need to go create that raid and assign you the points as well. Bang points. Let's see how many points you got for hanging out. So you've been lurking for 80 minutes. Gave you another 40 points. Cool. Let's go do the giveaway. What am I giving away today? We got 14 people in chat. How many people are even in the giveaway? That's a better question. Got 9 entries. About 2/3. Tell you what, if we can get to 12 entries, I'll give away an articulated dragon. Otherwise, we'll be doing a coupon code for the website. So go invite some friends over. Tell them I'm doing a giveaway. Let folks know. If you're in chat, you can join our giveaway. You're absolutely welcome to join. You don't have to register for the daily giveaway, but you will need to send me a Twitch whisper so I can get your name and your address to ship you something if I'm sending a physical product. But if I'm giving you a coupon code, I'll just give you that over a Twitch whisper, and you'll just go to the website and you'll spend the coupon code, and it'll be enough to get a couple of things for free, including shipping, unless you're international and you're getting something big. So yeah, if we can get a couple more people in the giveaway, I'll upgrade the giveaway to a dragon. So let's give you all like 10 more minutes. See if you can get some more friends over here. Get a couple more people in that giveaway. If we can get that up to 12 people, I'll give away a articulated dragon. And again, if you're just lurking, because we got 13 or 14 people viewing the channel, but only 9 giveaways. There's another one. No, wait, that was just checking points. What is the giveaway? Well, right now it's going to be a coupon code for the website unless we get 12 people in the giveaway. So we need 3 more people to enter the giveaway to have 12. And if we can get 12, then I'll make it a dragon. So I'll give you all like 10, 15 minutes to go invite some friends over, go ping some people, go tweet that I'm doing a giveaway, something. And hey, Milsig, good to see you. What's going on, Ghost? Ghost, drop me some dad jokes, man. I miss seeing your dad jokes around different channels. I don't know if we're just hanging out in different channels now, but I miss seeing all your dad jokes as well. What website? It's cool3dthings.com. If you do ! catalog, it'll give you the URL to the website. And it's where I do all my laser engravings. Oh, that's the other thing. I added all the other helmets on the website. So let's go take a peek at that real quick. Go back to the browser. Go to Cool 3D Things. Actually, I think if you do ! helmets. Yeah, there it is. So I made a link just for the helmets, and that'll take you over to all the helmets that we can make. So one of the giveaway items for July is a cosplay helmet. So you'll be able to go in and you'll be able to, if you win that drawing, you'll be able to come in and pick any of these helmets, and I will do the initial, like I'll do the printing of it. I'll do some cleanup. I'll do some sanding and 1 coat of primer. And so at that point you can, and I'll sand the primer as well. So it'll be smooth enough that you can then do additional post-processing if you want. You can paint it if you want, or if you want to commission me to paint it, then we'll do like an upcharge. But the helmet itself, you'll get in kind of a flat gray color, like the ones that you see over my shoulder here. you'll get it in a kind of a flat gray color, and then you can just spray paint it whatever color you want at that point. So yeah, you'll be able to. So that's one of our giveaway prizes, Ghost. So if you go back over to here, do like exclamation point register. Just hanging out in the channel, you'll gain points. You can exchange those for tokens, and then you can say, I want to reserve 5 of those tokens for a helmet, 10 of those tokens for a 3D printer, because we're giving away a 3D printer. If you do exclamation point prizes, you'll see the list of all of them. I need to add lightsabers. So at $2,000, I'm going to add another helmet. At $3,000, I'm going to add a resin printer. So tell you what, if we can get to $2,500 to the charity, I will add a set of lightsabers. So the collapsible blade lightsabers. I will do like a whole set of lightsabers if we can get to $2,500. Because again, it's about STEM to the future. It's not about me making money or anything like that. And I do need to get the lightsabers on the website as well, because I don't have those on there. But you know, the coupon codes that I'll be giving away during the daily giveaway, it'll probably cover. Well, I mean, typically the coupons that I'm giving away are worth $15, and the lightsabers would be like $25 to $30, depending on the complexity, plus shipping. So you'd get a lightsaber for more than half price off the like what I would charge to actually make a lightsaber. So if you hang out and you get a couple of these giveaways and you get a couple of those coupon codes, you could get it for free, basically, because I want these coupon codes to stack. And if they don't stack, I'll just erase those coupon codes and just issue another coupon code for the collective value. But if we can get to 2,500, I'll do like one of every lightsaber that I have access to, and there's like 5 or 6 of them. And I'll just make like a whole rack of lightsabers. Maybe not like a physical rack, but I'll make all the lightsabers, and I'll make blades in whatever color the winner wants. If we can get to $2,500, so I'll add that as a note on the Discord community, that if we get to $2,500, I'll do like a whole bunch of lightsabers. We'll do like the Obi-Wan one. We'll do the Rey from Force Awakens. We'll do another set of the Ahsoka Tano lightsabers. That designer also has a Princess Leia. Oh shoot, I can't do the Ahsoka Tano. No, I can give them away. I just can't sell the Ahsoka Tano one. But the designer that does the Obi-Wan Kenobi one, and there's like a Sith lightsaber as well. They also made a Princess Leia one from one of the last movies where she had a lightsaber. They designed a Princess Leia lightsaber, and I think they may have a Mace Windu lightsaber as well. So I'll just make like one of each of them, and I'll make that like a $2,500 goal, like a milestone for us. If we can get to 2,500, I'll make like one of all of those lightsabers, and we'll do that as a giveaway. Are the helmets wearable? Yeah, they're absolutely wearable. So this is the Daredevil cowl. Well, it's one of them. Can't wear it with glasses. Pardon the hair. Been wearing hats and beanies all day. But yeah, totally wearable. And it'll have padding and stuff inside, so it'll fit a little bit better. But basically, I'll work with whoever the winners are for the helmets to get the size, because like this one is for another streamer here on Twitch. It goes by GBav, and his head is a little bit longer, so I actually extended the helmet to make the helmet a little bit larger based on his measurements. And then I'll be doing like custom visors and stuff like that. But yeah, they're totally wearable. I do them on a Voron machine. And then some of the other giveaways, since Ghost hasn't been here, this is one of the other ones. This one's called the trophy. So it's a dragon head trophy, and it's in 2 pieces. This one will actually hang on the wall. And if you don't have 3D printer filament adhesive, I'll like adhere this onto the base plate before I ship it to you. So that's one of the other giveaways. Another one is it's basically like a ridiculous supersized version of the Great Dragon from Fat Dragon Games. Like this is 100% scale, and I printed it at like 220% scale. So like, here's one of the wings. So it's gonna be enormous. That's another giveaway. And then we showed off the resin one earlier. So I'll reassemble that one here. Bear with me for a second. I'll show you a picture of it while we wait. Go back over to the browser. Back over to here. So this is the resin print. And it actually just finished printing the dragon today. Let's see if I can remember how this goes together. Pretty sure it's like that. It's approximately like that. So, ooh, don't fall. That would be bad. It's approximately like this. So let's go back over to this scene here. And so no, it's not quite right. It's close. Not exactly. You kind of get the idea. It's more like that, I believe. There we go. It's more like that. And so I'm gonna paint the shingles on here, probably like a very muted burgundy or like a slate blue or something like that. And then I've got a paint scheme in mind for the dragon, and I'm basically gonna custom airbrush the dragon and paint the dragon. The other large dragon we're gonna do using a very elaborate paint scheme that chat helped pick out. And then we've got the dragon head trophy, and then I've got like a ginormous articulated dragon. It's like 4 feet long that we're giving away. And because we hit $1,000, I added an entry-level 3D printer. It's the Anycubic Cobra 2. And then when we hit $1,500, I added a cosplay helmet. If we can get to $2,000, I'm going to add another cosplay helmet. If we get to $2,500, I'm going to do a set of lightsabers, which are the collapsible blade lightsabers. So similar to these. And I'll do like a whole set of those. And then at $3,000, I'm going to add a resin printer. So right now we're at like $1,750. And we're raising money through the end of August, but the giveaways are only happening in July. So we've got till the end of the month to try to raise like as a little extra push. We're going to raise money through the end of July, specifically for the giveaways. We'll still continue to raise money in August, but for the big giveaway prizes, those are going to be our milestones. So yeah, it should be pretty fun. The resin print came out really, really nice. And I'm also still trying to find the... I found like a really cool theme that I want to try and find now. It's in here somewhere. I just need to find the tab. So many tabs. Oh, so many tabs. So these were just... No, those were the examples that we were looking at for inspiration. Set of browser tabs. Set of browser tabs. One of these sets of browser tabs I've got, is it in here? Set of browser tabs. How about this set? Set of browser tabs. Is it this set of browser tabs? So many browsers, so little time. Set of browser tabs. It's here somewhere, I'm sure. Set of browser tabs. If I really can't find it, I'll just describe it, but it was going to be... It's going to be pretty great if I can find it. I would love to just show you and kind of get everyone's reaction. Find it now. That was all C# stuff. Nope, not in that. Down basics, it's not in there. It is none of those. Good news is I'm closing all these browsers that I realize I don't need anymore. No, it's not in those windows. Where is that? It was a really cool, like, lava theme dragon, where the whole, like, the belly becomes like a really bright yellow and then kind of like goes out in bands, kind of like a rib cage kind of thing. And I was going to do that down the back since you only see the back of the dragon. And then I was going to do the wings where it goes from kind of the gray into like more of a fire type of thing. So I'm going to do like a lava fire theme on the dragon. So I wish I could find the image, because I found it's in a browser tab somewhere on my system. It looks really, really cool. Anyway, that's what we're going to go for on the resin print. But I've only got a couple of weeks to like finish painting these things up. It's not going to be a rush job. Like, I'm going to take my time with it. Like, I've got a new set of paintbrushes coming, and I've got the airbrush all primed up. But you know, gotta get to it for sure. Anyway, so those are our giveaway prizes, and then the giant articulated dragon. And then if you're not into dragons, I've got a Lego kit. It's the Luke Skywalker X-Wing fighter from Lego. It's this kit here. So if you're not into dragons and you don't want a 3D printed thing, or you don't want a printer, because my strong hope for the 3D printer is that it's going to go to somebody who's brand new to 3D printing, because it is an entry-level printer. It's not like super advanced. It doesn't run Clipper or anything like that. But it'll be a really good starter printer for somebody who's brand new to 3D printing. It won't be big enough to print helmets and things like that, but you know, you'll be able to print lightsabers, you know, on the thing. If you want to get into that and then, you know, paint them up or whatever, you'll have that ability. So, you want to save points? You want to save your points for eternity? All right, there you go. And dragons, yes, absolutely. The articulated dragons will print nicely on the Anycubic Cobra 2. Cool. How are we doing for giveaways? Did we hit our dozen? We got 13. All right, Baker's dozen. All right, so the prize for tonight will be an articulated dragon. Whoever gets drawn, if you're here, you'll have... you can tell me like what kind of filament you want. I've got a bunch of them that are already printed in various like rainbow filaments, or like the transition filaments. They're mostly dark colors. But I can print them in other colors if you have like a favorite. We can chat offline about like what color that you would like. You will need to be in chat to do !claim if your name gets drawn. You'll see a little timer show up down here in the window. You have 60 seconds to claim it if you're drawn. So let's go do that right now. Giveaway daily a dragon. Oh, Jay Brinker getting to the last possible second here. No whammies, ready to claim that dragon. All right, well, here we go. See who our recipient is. Mark H. Mark H, you are one lucky son of a gun. I hope you're out buying lottery tickets. So you're in chat, but you got to do !claim to get rid of this little timer thing going on right here. So you got to !claim if you want the dragon. If you've already got a dragon and you don't want another one, oh, you want it? Okay, cool. So let me know. Just send me either on Discord or Twitch. Just send me a message on like what kind of filament you'd like me to do. And if I've already got one printed in that filament, I'll just ship that. Otherwise, I'll make it for you and I'll ship that. So all the other giveaways that we did on Saturday, we gave away like tons of really cool like Lego kits, like Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote. We had Buzz Lightyear. We gave away some dragons. We gave away, what else did we give away? Gosh, we gave away the lightsabers, the Ahsoka Tano lightsabers, several Lego kits. There was a big Lego kit that we gave away. What else did we give away? I got like a whole list of stuff here. We gave away the lightsabers, a 3-in-1 Lego kit, a blue, red, purple dragon, Blacktron Cruiser Lego kit. The Lego X-Wing went to Daddy Wazzy. Mark H got the Buzz Lightyear. Glow in the dark of some color plus a Technic kit to someone that was new that had come over on a raid. Someone else got the it's a Obi-Wan Kenobi and Vader Brickheads kit. So yeah, we gave away just a ton of stuff on Saturday. We also gave away 2 spools of filament as well. We tried to give away a second spool of filament on Saturday, but everybody that I was drawing wasn't in chat any longer. So we actually gave it away on Sunday's stream, and I think that one went to RC Maniac. And then we gave something else away on Sunday. So we gave away just a boatload of stuff plus a ton of points. And yes, I consumed lots and lots of hot sauce because you all, folks, seriously, on Saturday you all raised like more than $1,200, and then on Sunday. I added the 3D printer. I added the Anycubic Cobra 3D printer, and realized it didn't ship to Canada, and we were somewhere around like a little bit north of $1,500 raised. And people in chat were like, why won't they ship to Canada? I'm like, I don't know. That particular model, they don't ship to Canada. And I said, tell you what, if we get to $1,750 in donations, I'll change the printer to one that they will ship to Canada. And like, bam, someone like right away donated like almost $200, got us to that $1,750 mark. So I upgraded it to the Cobra 2 instead of just the Cobra, because the Cobra 2, they will ship to Canada. I'm like, all right, people have spoken. So we upgraded the printer. So now, yeah, if we can get to 2,000, I'm going to add another cosplay helmet. 2,500, I'll do like a whole bunch of those lightsabers. So I'm going to add that on my thing here. Or sorry, no, I said 2,500 for a cosplay helmet. So I'll change that to 2,000. So 2,000 will do another cosplay. 2,500 will be a whole set of lightsabers. And then at $3,000, I'm going to do an entry-level resin 3D printer. So again, it's not going to be like, you know, I'm not going to buy like a $2,000 resin printer or anything like that. It'll be entry-level. But if you're into 3D printing and you want to get like an entry-level resin printer, that'll be a good one. And then, you know, of course, you're responsible to get your own filament and resin and whatever for the 3D printers. You'll get whatever it comes with from the manufacturer. So if they offer, or like if the printer comes with a little sample, then that'll be good for like a couple of prints, but then you're going to need to buy filament. The resin printers typically don't come with resin. Sometimes it'll come with like a small little bottle, but you'll be responsible for that. But you know, there's a whole list, like a whole shopping list of things that you should get if you get the resin printer and you're new to resin printing. Things like latex gloves and a mask and all that kind of stuff, because some of the fumes are pretty strong. So, but yeah, Saturday was a lot of fun. So every $50 donation, I basically took a teaspoon of hot sauce, and Pick Stitch came in and dropped the first $50. And he's like, Ghost Pepper. I'm like, all right. And so I lost count of how many teaspoons of ghost pepper sauce and whatever. And then at one point, someone's like, mix them all together. So I did like all of the above. Like we did a poll, and the fifth one was like all of the above, and I mixed them all together. So yeah, by the end of the night, my mouth was pretty toasty warm. I don't want to jinx it, but there were no other after effects. Like everything was fine the next day. I was worried about having like heartburn that night. It was fine. I slept fine. Next day, everything was fine. It was fine. In the moment, it was drastic and painful. We might do it again at the end of the month. We'll see. Maybe we'll do it again. See if we can hit some of those last milestones or whatever. We'll see. So we can get to 2,000. I'll add another helmet. 2,500. We'll do the lightsabers. 3,000. I'll do a resin printer. And then if we keep going beyond 3,000, I'll keep adding stuff. But I may do like larger increments, like we might go from 3,000 to 4,000 or something like that. So yeah, lots of prizes going on over there. So I showed you the Dragon Head trophy, showed you the Great Dragon. I didn't show you what it was going to be painted like, but that'll definitely be on there. Lego X-Wing Fighter, which I showed, the Flexi Factory Dragon, which is the 4-foot long like Imperial Dragon, and then the 3D printer, and then the cosplay helmet that we've got so far. And then there are limits, just so you're not putting in like 1,000 tokens on the thing and you're like guaranteed to win. So I did want to cap it just so it was kind of fair. And any tokens that you have left over, if you get enough tokens over the course of the month that you max out all of them, then we'll figure something out. Like maybe I'll refund the tokens back into points or something, so you can carry those points over. I don't know. We'll figure something out there. But July 31st at 11:59:59 Mountain Time will be your last opportunity to exchange points into tokens, and then any tokens that you have will go away. Any points that you have left over will roll over into August, September. October's our next big month-long giveaway, and we'll do more things like the cosplay helmets and the lightsabers and all kind of stuff as giveaways, hopefully in time for holidays. So whoever wins the helmets, I'll probably have to talk you through like the photogrammetry, like download a photogrammetry app and like take a scan of your head so I can kind of figure out exactly how big your head is. And then hopefully the helmet will fit you. And I'll have you follow it up with like measurements, like get like a tape measure, like like one of the cloth tapes or whatever. And like, I need you to kind of measure from your nose, around your ears, around the back of your head, including like whatever hair you have. So like don't tie up your hair and then like go around the back of your head, like keep your hair down or stuff like that. So I'll walk you through all that stuff if we get into that. So Humbler John with 400 tokens? My gosh. And you've only reserved 7 of them. So you got a lot of tokens. So you need to make sure. So July 31st will be the last day to turn your points into tokens. When I do the actual drawing, which will probably be August 4th, August 5th, somewhere in there, I'll make an announcement on that stream. Like, you all have like a couple of minutes left to reserve your tokens for whatever prizes, and then I'm going to turn off that command to reserve the tokens, and then we're going to start doing the drawing. If you happen to be in chat when I do the drawing, if you win like a cosplay helmet, I'm going to do something a little extra. If you win the 3D printer, I'll do something a little extra. If you win the lightsabers, I'll do something a little extra if you're in chat. But you don't have to be in chat. If I draw your name, you win, because you're doing exclamation point register up here and you're giving me your contact info. So if you win, you win. If you happen to be in chat when I'm doing the drawing, you're going to win something on top of it. So we'll see how that goes. Cool. So Cajun's going to convert 500 tokens worth of points. That's amazing. Royal Lemmy, good to see you. How do you enter for a particular item? So you exchange your points for tokens. And so you do bang tokens. Well, you've got 400 tokens. So when you do exclamation point prizes in chat, it'll show you a code name for each of the prizes. Like trophy is the dragon head trophy. Resin is the resin print that we made. And so you'll do like tokens resin 100 or tokens 3D printer 250 or whatever, and you'll reserve the tokens that way. So if you just do exclamation point tokens, it should show you that kind of stuff. Dad joke of the day. All right. Well, I'll do 2. So Royal Nomi, how did the cucumber become a pickle? It went through a jarring experience. It used to be that rich people had cars and poor people had horses. Now only rich people have horses. My, how the stables have turned. Hope you all got out to 7-Eleven today and got your free Slurpee or Slushy or Icy or whatever they sell at 7-Eleven. It was 7-Eleven day today. If they're still open in your area, I mean, if you're, I guess, like Central Time or further west, you might still find a 7-Eleven open. Go grab a free Slushy or Icy or whatever they're called. Darth Gollum, good to see you as well. Thanks for dropping in, everybody. So we just finished the giveaway for the day. Mark H got a articulated dragon. So there we go. So all kinds of folks coming in, getting points and stuff like that. So you did the registration. You got 40 points for following for 4 months. Appreciate that, Ghost. And you got additional points for watching the channel for a while. So just being here in chat, even if you're just lurking in the background, you're going to gain points. The more you chat, if you share links and stuff like that, go check out the Discord community. There's lots of ways that you can gain those points. Because I can also come in here and I can also do something like give all 250 and everybody just got 250 more points. You're welcome. So 32 users? Yeah, it's about right. Because it's rotating through like who was here a minute ago. So yeah, so everybody just got another 250 points. That's 25 tokens worth of points. So go exchange those for tokens. Any points you don't exchange into tokens is fine. Those points will roll over, but anything you do turn into tokens, those will go away at the end of July. Or once we do the drawing, all of those will be gone. So Humbler John, you'll do exclamation point tokens, trophy, 243. And that's going to reserve 243 tokens towards the Dragon Head trophy. So this is the Dragon trophy. And this was done in Polymaker Starlight Neptune filament, airbrushed horns by me. I did realize the other day when I was showing it off, I actually missed part of the horn right on the end right there. So I'm going to go back and airbrush the little tip of the horn there. And if you don't have something like 3D gloop, I'll make sure that these are adhered together. I'll find some way of like sticking these together. And it's got the little wall mount on the back. I'll make sure that it's got the adhesion on there for you. I can't ship it with 3D, like a bottle of 3D gloop. But if you're into 3D printing and you happen to have 3D gloop, that would be the best thing to do for adhesion. Can you explain it to me like I'm 5? So you get points, yes. So just hanging out in the channel, you're gaining points. Do exclamation point points, and you'll see how many points you have. Those you can exchange at a 10-to-1 ratio for tokens. So every 10 points is worth 1 token. Any points that you don't turn into tokens, those points will carry over into August, September, October. October's our next month-long giveaway. And so we'll be doing stuff all the time in October to gain lots of extra points and stuff like that. Anything you do convert to tokens, so let's say you have enough points for 100 tokens. You say, okay, I want to exchange all my points, get 100 tokens. Now you can go in and you can say, I want to put 20 tokens on that trophy. I want to put 50 tokens on the resin dragon. I want to put 30 tokens, do the math, 30 tokens on the 3D printer. You don't have to put points on everything. If you don't want the Lego kit, don't put any tokens on it. If you want all of your tokens on the 3D printer, put all of your tokens on the 3D printer, up to a maximum per user. And then the drawing that I do for each of those prizes is going to be based on how many tokens you reserve for that prize. So when you use the tokens command, just exclamation point tokens, it'll show you how many tokens that you have exchanged points for. And then you can say tokens trophy 50, and that'll reserve 50 of your tokens for the Dragon Head trophy. Or you can say tokens 3D printer 100, and that will reserve 100 of your tokens for the 3D printer. Once you make that choice, we can't undo that. So once you assign tokens for a particular prize, it says you only have this many tokens left because you've assigned tokens to a particular prize. And then I'll be drawing names based on how many tokens you put into each of those prizes. Hopefully that helps. Couldn't find the prize with the name Helmet. You do need to spell it properly. And you'll be able to do the tokens and the points and all that. You'll be able to do that even off stream. I don't need to be streaming, so anytime you come by, you can go hang out on my chat. You can come through anytime and see how many points you have and things like that. Now, if you register for the newsletter, this is one of my other to-do items for tonight. If you do register for the newsletters, it's going to give you an extra 50 points per newsletter, plus an extra 50 just as a thank you. So if you register for all 3 of the newsletters, then you'll get another 200 points. And then for each of the messages that you get in those series, you'll also gain additional points at the end of the month. So once July 31st finishes, it's going to go through and calculate one last time how many points you got based on how far into those newsletter series that you got. And one of the things that I have to build out right now is tracking your email account with the newsletter to see like the progress of how you're doing there. Now, if you filled out the registration form up here and you want to use a different email address for the newsletters, then I posted something in the Discord community. You can do a command like !email space and then your email address and send that in a whisper to the bot. Make sure you put !email space and then your email address. Otherwise, it's going to come through as an anonymous question to chat and everyone's going to see your email. So you have to make sure you format it properly. But if you send a whisper to the bot with !email and your email address, then it's going to go look that up in the email registration for the newsletters. And if it sees that you are registered with that email, then it's going to start giving you points based on getting those newsletter emails. So lots of ways to get points around here. I wanted to be really generous with that, just to have some fun with the giveaway here. And I'm going to go through and fine tune all this stuff for the October one. But for this month, let's just give stuff away. I'm happy to give stuff away. So it's all in the name of charity and helping STEM to the Future. So STEM to the Future, the organizer of STEM to the Future is going to be on the stream sometime early next week. We need to finalize like an actual day and time. But Jacob does want to come on the stream and say hi to everybody and say thank you for the support, because it totally caught them off guard. They just started getting notifications from PayPal that they were getting donations through Twitch. And they're like, how are we getting donations through Twitch? Somehow they narrowed it down to me. And they reached out to me on LinkedIn. They're like, what are you doing? Like, not in a bad way, but just like, you know, like, what are you raising money for us for? Like, what's this about? So we got on a call and we chatted for about 40 minutes. Really classy person. Really enjoyed chatting with Jacob. And he's really excited to come on the stream and say hi to everybody and say thank you and just to explain a little bit more about what STEM to the Future is. So that'll be sometime early next week. So I'm looking forward to having a chat with Jacob on the stream. Cool. So Humbler John reserved all 250 tokens for the Dragon Head. So you've maxed out for the Dragon Head and you've got 157 tokens for the helmet. So there you go. And you got 0 tokens left. Now you're still going to gain points just by hanging out. And you'll gain lots of points over time. So maybe you can max out the helmet as well. So yeah, it should be pretty fun. So hopefully, so Ghost, let me know if that explanation sounded okay. I've also got all this stuff written up in the Discord community. There's an announcements channel and a giveaway info channel, and I go through and I explain, like, sorry, I think I put some of it in the general channel as well. But I wanted to kind of show like how all the commands work and like examples of how to do that. You can also go look at the About section if you're on a web browser watching the stream. Go into my About section, and I've got like all of the examples and like how to use all the chat commands and stuff like that in there too. Cool. Awesome. Well, I'm going to keep coding. Y'all are welcome to keep hanging out. The longer you watch, the more points you get. But we did our giveaway for the day, so congrats again to Mark H. Send me a Twitch whisper or a message on Discord. Let me know what kind of dragon you would like. Cool. Let's dive back in on some code. So we were trying to track when you raid over. So that was the other thing, is when you raid into my channel, anybody that raids in with more than one person, they get put into a quarterly giveaway just for people that raid into my channel. It's a way for me to say thank you for bringing your community over. But I also want to give you giveaway points as well based on how many people you raid over with. And so the more people that you bring over as a streamer, the more extra giveaway points that you're going to get. And I may actually bump it up, because right now I think I had it at like 1.5 per person that you bring over. I may multiply that by 10 and say, like, you get like, 15 points per person that you bring over, something like that. Like, just make it ridiculously stupid, like lots and lots of points for bringing your community over, just as a way of saying thanks. I think I'm about to do something evil. Go for it. I mean, if you're going to do a donation, please know I'm not doing the hot sauce for the donos anymore. I might at the end of the month, but right now I'm not. But if you can influence raids from other communities, that'd be great. But let me fix the raid thing first. Like, it's not working right now. We haven't tested that's actually going to work yet. So we're still going through and building up that code and making sure that code's going to work properly. And ultimately, the goal here is to move all of this code into Streamer.bot so that I can share this giveaway code with other people who stream. So if you're a streamer and you use Streamer.bot, my goal is to take all this giveaway code and give it to other people that stream and show them how to configure it and how to customize it and things like that for what they want to do. Or maybe do that as a consultant kind of thing. Like, if you want me to set up a giveaway bot in your Streamer.bot, I'll custom build the commands and whatever, and build whatever customization into it that you want. So, I troll with Amish even when he's not. I mean, me too. So I have my bot account, my ID736 bot, and I've also got my work account, and I typically tune in both of them to Amish's channel as well. And occasionally in chat, I'll do like exclamation point points as the bot, and it'll show like, oh yeah, I'm maxed out on points, and he DM'd me one time in kind of a panic. He's like, please don't enter my giveaways using your bot. And I'm like, no, I'm not. I'm just doing it to troll you. And he's like, it worked. But I've had other people in the channel as well, like using multiple accounts and things like that too. And so I've contacted folks saying like, please just one per. I'm gonna go back through and check the database before we do the giveaways and look for duplicate addresses and things like that. So I want to make sure that people are, being legit. They're not trying to game the system and like increase their chances by using alt accounts and stuff. So please, I mean, there's only so much tracking I can actually do, but you kind of ruin it for everybody if you're using multiple accounts to enter a giveaway. So I would ask, please don't do that. And that's also why on this raid thing, like, anybody can go over to your own Twitch channel, because everybody on Twitch is effectively a potential streamer. You can go into your own chat and say raid over to Ian's channel, and you can raid over here with a party of one. And those are the people that I'm filtering out with part of this code, because it doesn't make sense to raid over with one person. You're not bringing a community over, and so I don't want to reward raiders of one for coming over, even though I appreciate the raid. I appreciate that somebody wants to come over and be part of our community, but if you're only raiding over with one person, it means you were alone in your stream when you came over, and so I'm not going to give you like 100 points for raiding over by yourself. That doesn't make sense, and that wouldn't be fair to other people. So if I am streaming, and that's the other check I need to do in here as well, is I need to make sure that I'm actually streaming, so that people aren't trying to raid over when I'm offline and still getting all those points. So that's something I'll build in later. That you'll have to actually, like, I actually have to be streaming when you raid over. So we'll see how that goes. I go in and see his stream elements and play all the left sounds. Yeah, I love those too, especially the air horn. I love when he was doing the only up game. And he was like getting really, really tense, and I'd like hit the air horn kind of thing. And then he started using the Dixper crates for like all the jump scares and stuff like that. He was freaking out. It was pretty wild. But I had some fun with him right at the end of the game, where he said, like, if you donate $250 to the charity he was raising money for, he would drop all the way to the bottom. So I waited for him to get to the very end of the game, and I dropped a donation on him. And he's like, Ian. And so he's like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Because he knew it meant dropping all the way back down to the bottom. And so I'm in chat. I'm like, nah, dude, finish the game. And just, you see this relief come over him, because it took him like 5 hours to get there. It was pretty great. 80% of the Dixpers was you. Nice. Yeah, I think between you and Pix and like one other person, you had him going pretty good, like especially messing with his keyboard, you know, like you couldn't jump, or you would like move him sideways and make him fall off stuff. It was great. Yeah, I like that Dixper has that kind of ability, and that they've tied that in with streaming. I think that's really clever that they've done that. Cool. Well, I'm gonna go back to the coding here, because we got to get this raid thing fixed up for people that stream in or raid over. So so back over here in the VS codes, I think we got everything we need. So we've tracked in Airtable. So we're getting the date of the stream, which is like today's date, converting it to local time. We're adding that over to Airtable, and then we're adding it over to Postgres as well. So I've got two different databases where I'm tracking this one, but the Postgres one is where it's going to be assigning you the giveaway points, where the Airtable is the one where my bot is like trying to find somebody every quarter to actually give some special giveaway prize just for the raiders that come over. Well, the streamer that brings a raid over. Obviously not all of the people they bring with them, because I don't necessarily see the list of, well, I don't see the list of who they specifically bring over. Cool, well, let's go test this in Streamer.bot. Let's go see whether this is actually going to work or if it's going to crash on us. So that all worked there. So let's go test this out. So it crashed because it was expecting a raid count somewhere, and it did not get that raid count. Let's go double check that it actually make the entry. So it did make the entry in Airtable, but we did not get a username. So we got the username from Streamer.bot. Oh, you know why? We changed this parameter. I called it username here, but Streamer.bot is still sending it over as the letters UN. So I need to go change that in Streamer.bot, and that's why that didn't work. So let me go change that over here. We'll actually call that username. Compile, that compiles, save and compile. Go back over here, and now we'll test that again. Okay, so now we get the user ID, we get their username, and we get a count of people. We're rating over with a count of 2, and something else failed. So something else failed, changing the channel points to giveaway points. Channel points to giveaway points. Something else. Somebody trying to do the channel point redemption, because there is a channel point redemption to take your channel points and actually turn them into giveaway points. So you can take, I think, 10,000 channel points and convert them into some number of giveaway points. I think it's 400 giveaway points or something like that. Or it's a 400 to 1 ratio, so whatever that works out to be. But that's not the error that we're hitting. Let's see, we got our channel points to giveaway points. Why is it going in there? step. Okay, this is why we don't copy paste code. So this is the same function name as something else. So it was confusing me what was happening here. So this was track incoming raid. It is complaining on line 119 when it's trying to create that raid inside of that code. Count is not coming in at the right place. So this parameter is out of place apparently. So let's go take a look at that code for create raid. So create raid. So we have the user and then the stream. Oh, and then a message of some kind and then a raid count. Okay, so we have the wrong parameters here. It's my own code. I don't even remember my own parameters. So we get the user object and then the stream object. So we need the user object and then the stream object. And then it looks like we had a message in here. And then we had the raid count. Well, what is the message being used for? Oh, that's what we're actually tracking in that table. Okay. Which I said we don't really need anymore, but it's a positional parameter, so we do need to pass it. So I'm going to pass that because we do build that raid message here. And then we follow that with a raid count. So we don't have the stream at the end here as that parameter anymore. All right, so let's save that. And see if we get past that. So test. All right, so it failed somewhere else. So now it's failing on the insert because what it's trying to insert into the raid table is the wrong data type. So we have the user ID, the raiders count coming in is empty. So over here, where we build the raid, coming in with a raid count, we're trying to store that here as raiders. That's coming in as empty. Invalid input syntax for a type of integer. Let's go take a look at the models. See what we're expecting in that raids table. Raids table is going to be way down here at the bottom. So there's our giveaway items, reservations. That's for how you're reserving your tokens for a giveaway item. These are our raids. So it's complaining about the raiders here. It's expecting that to be an integer. And I think what's happening is we're actually bringing that over as a string. So I need to convert this to be an integer here. So that needs to be an integer. All right, so let's try this again. Test. Invalid literal for integer for an empty string. So now this is coming in as an empty string. So now we need to go back to here because when we're calling create raid. Hey, thank you for the follow. Ucode. Appreciate the follow. 10K channel points for 25 giveaway points. Right now, yes. If you think it should be different, let me know. I'm always open to changing it up. Iota, thanks for dropping by tonight. Appreciate it. So the Cool 3D Things is my website, yes. So if you do exclamation point catalog, that'll take you over. And it's called Cool 3D Things, but honestly, the biggest part of the catalog is the laser engraving that I do. But I'm gradually adding the 3D printing stuff that I'm doing, like the dragons and the cosplay. I've got a couple of armor sets on there. There's like a Batman Arkham Knight armor set and an Iron Man armor set. They're obviously a lot more expensive than just a helmet because it's like 20 pounds of filament and you're basically tying up every printer I own for several weeks. But yeah, I can do like full armor sets and I'll work with you on like getting measurements and stuff like that. But I'll be adding more of the 3D printed stuff kind of as we go. And then like just showing off like a gallery of stuff that I've printed over the years and stuff like that. So I've still got work to do on the site, but I got the helmets up the other day at least because that's going to be one of the giveaway items. So I kind of hurried up and got the helmets on there. All right, so creating the RAID here, that RAID count is coming in empty. That RAID count is coming in here where we have that RAID message. The RAID message is also coming in empty. It says so-and-so just raided the channel with blank viewers. So that RAID count, which we're supposed to be getting here as a string. Oh, because I called it RAID underscore count, and that's not what Streamer.bot is sending over. So again, we got to make sure that the parameters are lined up right. So when we in Fast API in Python, when you're passing in a parameter like this, where you give it a data type and you give it an optional value, then this becomes a query parameter to the API endpoint. And so it's literally looking for these exact names. And I didn't call it RAID underscore count. I was calling it RAID count, all one word. So if I add an underscore, compile, save and compile, and then come back over to platform and do that test again. That worked. Okay. So now Mighty Bean just raided over with 2 viewers. And it got all the way to the chat. So thank you for the raid. You've been entered in the quarterly raider giveaway. Sweet. So that worked. So it got all the way to the end. That error, the old error. Let me try another one just to be sure. And I'm keeping the count low just so it doesn't like overinflate. Maddie Cakes XOXO. All right. So you've also entered the quarterly giveaway. Yeah. So we fixed the error. Sweet. So now the raid tracking is working. When someone comes in and raids, we have everything that we need. So now in the main chatbot over here, originally I was trying to track like events happening, and this is where we're looking for channel point redemptions and bits coming in, and then I had a bunch of code in here that was looking for let me see if I can find the code. It's not in the shoutouts, it's in the event message. So this is where if you send a whisper over to the bot, it'll send back and say, hey, we had an anonymous question. And then there was some code in here somewhere. Here it is. So if the message author is coming from Stream Elements or Own3D saying somebody just raided the channel with so many viewers, that this is where it was saying like, hey, you raided in and we were tracking everything. So now I can take all this code out because we've got that code now in Streamer.bot. And we've got the API endpoint to track all that for us. So now I can start. So this is the process that I'm doing on Tuesdays as far as my live coding is I'm trying to figure out how can I take this Python code and convert portions of it over to C# to do in Streamer.bot. And yeah, I still need to have a Python API to like kind of interface between my database and Streamer.bot. But eventually I also want to get to a point where I can have Streamer.bot write directly into Postgres and not need this extra Python code that we wrote over here for these endpoints to track the stuff that Streamer.bot can put that stuff directly into the database and do those calculations. That's later though. For now, I'm doing kind of a hybrid solution where I'm taking code out of my Python chatbot, moving some of that responsibility over to Streamer.bot, since Streamer.bot can watch channel point redemptions and bits and subscriptions and all that kind of stuff, and then interact with it based on that. So within Streamer.bot, we're basically now saying anything more than 2 people, you know, we have this kind of thing going on, and that's all working fine. So now we can start to evaluate, because no, there's no exchange all. You do need to give it a specific count. So you have 5 giveaway points, so you have 376. So yeah, you need to, I didn't want to do a max or an all kind of command, because I wanted people to know that they can roll over their points. And so you don't have to convert all of them. If you want to, you can, but I want that to be like a conscious decision. That's also why I tell you to do a confirm. But I also ask people for feedback. Like if that's too many steps and you want me to simplify it, or you think I should simplify it and like don't do a confirm, like if I say exchange 37, just do the thing, I'm happy to take that kind of feedback. This is all kind of the learning curve, and this is why I really need all of your feedback on How's this flow? Like if you had to follow this flow in somebody else's channel, like Amish Ace, would this feel like too many steps? Because like in Brett's channel, you gain points, you turn them into tickets, and then he does a single giveaway for a single item. And I wanted to kind of explore the idea of, well, what if a streamer wants to give away more than one item? Then you as the user should be able to choose how many of your tickets or tokens or whatever you call them, how many of those you give away, or how many of those you want to use for which prize. And then the number of tokens that you give to that prize determines your percent of chance to win that prize. You think the confirm is a bit much? Okay. And then someone else was asking about the 10,000 for 25 points. Do you think that should be increased? What do you think a good exchange rate would be? Because you get a lot more channel points on a regular basis than you do the points you get from watching the channel. So I don't want to make it like a 1-to-1, like 10,000 channel points is 10,000 giveaway points. I think right now I've got it at a 400-to-1 ratio. That's the 10,000 points to 25 points. I would be happy adjusting that to something else if folks kind of want to help me come to a consensus on what you think is a better value. Like instead of a 400-to-1, should it be a 10-to-1 or a 25-to-1 or 100-to-1? What do you think would be fair to convert 10,000 channel points to giveaway points? More than open to ideas on this. Everybody else kind of lurking in the background. We got about 20 odd viewers, so appreciate that. If you want to throw a follow my way, I'd appreciate it. I'm doing a whole month of giveaways. Happy to show off those prizes again, or explain the prizes and how all that stuff works. Just let me know. Cool. Well, let me go clean up my Airtable because I got a whole bunch of these test entries here that don't make sense anymore. So let me go delete those records. And then I can go back into PG admin, any of those RAID records, and clean those out as well. So we have the streams. So let's go look at the RAIDs that ended up getting saved in there. So that was Matty Cakes and Mighty Bean, so I can go take those out. Save, and then I need to go into the user points. Find everybody that actually has raid points and empty all of those out. And then I need to go in and manually add the raids that we got on Saturday because we got raided from CM Griffing and Astro Canuck. So I need to make sure that they get their appropriate raid points. Just need to go find out the user ID. Interesting, we have a user ID with no username. People in the database. All right, so let's go manually run a query. Where username? Go back through my actual chat log history that I track and see what the size of those raids actually were and make sure that I give them an appropriate number of points. So what do you think? So let me know in chat, how many points should we do for a conversion for the channel points? And then if you raid over with a community, how many points per person that you raid over with should I give you? Like, what do you think makes sense there? Should it be like 10 points per user that you bring over? Or should it be like a scale, like 10 or less, or like the first 10 people are worth so many points, and between 10 and 100 are worth so many points, and 100 and up are worth so many points? Should I do something like that? Or should I just like make it a flat thing, like every user you bring over is worth 10 points or something like that? Let me know in chat what you think. Off to bed, East Coaster. Thanks again, Mark H. Make sure you send me a message. Let me know what kind of dragon you want. I'll get that shipped out. If I don't already have one, I'll make one. And yeah, just let me know what you like. Or you can go check out my Instagram as well. I use the same username on Instagram. If you see any filament colors on there that you like, let me know. 5 per person you bring in? 5 is reasonable. You bring over like 25 people, it's 125 points. It's respectable. Bring over 100 people, it's 500 points. Like 100. So the 2 raids that came in, like CM Griffing brought over like 50 plus people, and Astro Canuck brought over like 90 plus people. I think like 91 people. So at 5 per person, that would give Astro like 450 points. It would give CM Griffing like 250 points ish. So 5-to-1 ratio. I could get behind that. What's up, Whip? I could get behind that. I'm wondering if that's enough, though. Does that feel like enough? Because right now I was taking like whatever the count is and like multiplying it by 1.5 or something like that. So like, you bring over 2 people, that's worth 5 points. Is that right? 2 people, 1.5? No, it'd be 3 points. So every 2 people is worth 3 points. But 5 points per person, I could get behind that. I can get behind that. Either that or do groups. Yeah, I mean so I could do groups. I could do groups. A couple of ways I could do that. I could do it in Streamer.bot, where I could, kind of set those ranges in Streamer.bot and just say like, go call this other bit of code instead and change the value in there. Or I could just calculate it on the back end. So that, Streamer.bot just has to care about telling me the number, and some other bit of code is doing the calculation. Ultimately, though, all of this I want to be in Streamer.bot anyway. So I could just have that code inside Streamer.bot. So for example, if we come back over to Streamer.bot, over to here, okay, add that one. So in Streamer.bot, when we come over to the action and run that code, oh, now you're not going to find it again. Once again. Is I could put the logic in here where instead of passing the number of viewers, I could just pass the points and just pass in like a point value. Again, ultimately, I want Streamer.bot to talk directly to the databases, both Airtable and Postgres. But not every streamer that's going to use this giveaway code is going to be using both kinds of databases. And then I also have to try to figure out how to teach these other streamers how to set up the database and make sure that code is running. Otherwise, their Streamer.bot's not going to work. So I'm going to probably need like a Docker container and stuff like that to put the database on. It's not a big deal, but it's just one extra thing that they have to have running on their machine. So I could just pass the points, and that way Streamer.bot, could just say however many people there are, you're just calling that thing and doing the thing. What's happening right now, though, which is interesting, so ultimately I could put the logic inside of here saying based on how many users there are, just go assign this many points. But that would also require actually, it would need like the Airtable and things like that to try to figure out like what message are we storing in Airtable and Postgres and so on. But what's interesting is inside of here on that platform command is right now, if a single person raids over, we hear the AOL welcome. If we see 2 or more people coming over, it goes and it calls that other custom code, but we don't hear the welcome message anymore. So anybody that's actually bringing a community over, I don't hear this AOL welcome. So I'm going to have to go add that to the thing over here to say, like, go play that code. So can I run another action? It looks like I can. And I want to run the AOL welcome over here. I'm going to run that away. We'll do that. So now if we come over to platforms and we test this again, so now we're going to hear that welcome command. All right. Morgana. I don't think Morgana's ever actually been in my channel. Not that I've seen anyway. See, I got to make sure I clean that one out too. If I only send one, like if it's a rate of 1, then it'll run this command, which is just the AOL welcome. Now instead of playing the AOL welcome, if you raid over with 1 person, I kind of want to like troll them a little bit and play like lonely, I am so lonely kind of song or something like that, like just to troll them instead of welcome, you know, because you're raiding over with a party of 1, like you're not bringing anybody with you. Like 1 is the loneliest number, you know, like just play some sort of troll song or something like that. I think it'd be fun. Ghost, I think you'd be a good one to collaborate with on this. What song should we troll somebody with if they come over with only a single person? In the meantime, if you're hanging out in chat, because we got like 20 other people, I have a channel point redemption for 10,000 channel points to turn in some number of giveaway points, and I don't think anybody's redeemed it. Right now it's set to 10,000 turns into 25. I'm happy to change that ratio and make it something else, but I'd love some other ideas on what to change it to. Like, do we do like, you know, turn it into like 500 points, like go from 10,000 to 500 points? I don't know if I want to do 10 to 1. That feels a bit steep because we do have people with like hundreds of thousands of channel points, which they could convert. You know, if they really want to convert those into points, they can only convert into so many tokens. The other thing I should probably do before the end of the month is put some kind of cap on the exchange command, that if they try to exchange more points than the maximum sum total of all of the prizes per, like the maximum per user per prize, if the number of tokens that they try to create is bigger than that, that I give them some kind of error and say like, hey, you can't convert 10,000 tokens because, you know, everything that you could possibly reserve for, you would max out all of those at, you know, however many tokens. 1 is the loneliest number. All right, I'll go see if I can find a clip of that. Convert 1 million. I know, right? So if we do prizes, this is the one I was looking for. So right now, if we go and we add up like 250, 250, 250, 250, that's 1,000, plus 150, 150, that's 1,300, plus another 3, that's 1,600. So what? Another thing, I'm going to add this to my to-do list right now. Let's go do it. Let's go back over to the code over here, and we're going to add this to the to-do list. Not the log. We don't need the log anymore. So this is how you reset that email address, but I do need to fix this. This is working fine. I need to sum up all of the maximum per user tokens, and don't let a user convert more than that many tokens, but also needs to account for tokens they've already reserved. So for example, right now our maximum is 1,600 total, and that would max out all of the prizes that we currently have. Now, obviously, if I add more prizes, then it would expand and so on. That's why I want that exchange thing to like dynamically calculate that. And I can always cache that calculation so it doesn't have to go look up all the things out of the database and sum that up every time somebody tries to do the exchange command. I can just cache that value. But let's say Ghost has already reserved 200 on the trophy head and 200 on the printer. That's 400. And if you can max out at 1600, then any exchange that you try to do more than 1200, it should just say like, wait, you can't convert more than 1200 tokens, because that would be the maximum limit. Based on all the prizes, you can only convert 1200 more tokens. Or do I just limit it to whatever that value is? So if they try to convert 2000 tokens, I only do 1200. And then just give them a message saying I've converted 1200 tokens, as the maximum limit or something like that. Like I need to tell them why I'm only converting 1200, or do I just give them a message and say you can only convert up to 1200 more total? So I need to look at how many tokens they currently have that they haven't reserved. I need to look at the tokens that they have reserved, subtract that from this sum total, and then make sure the exchange command doesn't let them convert more than that. Because I don't want people like converting a bunch of points into tokens they can't use. Because that doesn't feel fair to them as a user. So I kind of want to protect them from themselves a little bit. Yeah, I'm not too worried about the spelling. It's just for my own notes, but yeah, I caught it too. The tokens go away even if you don't put them towards something. Yeah. So at the end of July, once I draw all the prizes, all the tokens that you've converted from points are going to go away. The other thing that I could do is any tokens that you didn't reserve, I could convert back into points and just say, okay, well, Ghost had 100 tokens left over. That's worth 1,000 points. So let me just go back and give you back that 1,000 points and set your tokens back to 0. I could do that, because then people can just convert all their points into tokens all the time, max everything out, and then any tokens they have left would just turn back into points. But I kind of want to put the risk on them of like, any tokens that you have that you assign, those are going to go away. And if you don't assign them for whatever reason, then that's also your choice. You've converted to tokens, but you chose not to put those tokens on any given prize. So this is also where I'm trying to think of like, what would other streamers want to do here? Would they want to convert it back to points, or would they just wipe them, or would they protect the user from over exchanging points into tokens? Me personally, I'm leaning towards protecting them from themselves and not letting them convert more tokens than we have prizes for. The danger that we would have is that on midnight of July 31st, someone comes in and drops a giant donation. Now I've got to scramble to add a bunch of prizes. So at some point, I'm going to have to cut off like any other donations that come in after this date are not going to count towards the milestone to add additional prizes. I don't know. I'm not sure what to do there. You either put the cap at 1600 or refund the non-used tokens. I mean, it would be a nice user experience to just say like, hey, you had these tokens left over and, we're going to convert them back into points or something like that. That puts more work on me, where right now I can just write a query saying, go set everybody's tokens to 0. And it's like a single SQL command that I run and it's done. Everybody gets reset back to 0 as far as their tokens are concerned. They still keep whatever other points they have. That's what I'm trying to figure out. Like, what would be the best way to manage that? I mean, as a user, it would definitely be nice to say like, hey, you converted these tokens, they didn't get used. Because from July 31st, so the end of the day, July 31st, you're not going to be able to convert points into tokens anymore. But until I actually do the drawing on the 4th or 5th of August, you're still going to have those couple of days that you could come into chat and look at your tokens and convert token or like reserve tokens for prizes or whatever. So you'll still have a period of time that you can sort of reserve those tokens for a prize until I actually do the drawing. At which point, and I'll need some kind of controlling here that says like, the tokens command will only work now to show you how you reserved your tokens, but you can't reserve anymore. I need some kind of like cutoff command from there. With some kind of like big countdown timer on the screen, like you only have this many minutes left to assign your tokens to prizes. It would be nice if I could build like a web page, that would do kind of some of the stuff, but that would be a little tricky from a streamer point of view for every streamer to go like build a website to do this. And I don't want to be like another Stream Elements. So yeah, I mean, I don't want to use the word gamble because that puts a pretty serious connotation on things in some jurisdictions and some countries where people aren't allowed to gamble. But that's effectively what they're going to be doing with the tokens. Is they're converting points into tokens, and then they're gambling their tokens towards a chance of winning a prize. And I kind of want to put that risk on the user to say, you've chosen to put so many tokens towards this prize, and so if you choose not to reserve any tokens for any particular prize, then that's on you. You had the token, you had the availability to put it towards the 3D printer or one of the prints or something I airbrush or a cosplay helmet. Like, you had that opportunity, you chose not to do it. So that my whole kind of idea around this giveaway code was giving the user that choice. You can choose whether or not you want to convert your points into tokens. You can then choose which of the prizes you want more than others, and you can assign the tokens appropriately. Like we saw someone in chat earlier, they put a whole bunch of tokens towards that dragon trophy and a whole bunch towards a helmet and didn't put any towards a 3D printer. So, okay, that's how they want to spend their points or spend their tokens or reserve their tokens. Yeah, I'm trying to think of what a good practice would be here. Meanwhile, so still thinking. So if you're in chat as well, I have a channel point redemption for 10,000 channel points to turn into giveaway points, which you can then choose or not to convert into tokens. I'm trying to think of a better ratio. I wonder if I want to do like a 50-to-1 ratio and just say like 10,000 channel points would be 500 giveaway points instead of 25. If I put the cap of 1,600 on the tokens exchange, it's only a little bit more work. When they do the exchange command, I'm already going out to the database and recalculating all their points to figure out how many points they have that they can even exchange. Because if they just do exclamation point exchange, I want to tell them you have this many points that you could exchange for a certain number of tokens. So I'm going out and doing that calculation anyway. So if I can cache like what was my sum total but then I would also have to go look up from their account how many tokens have they already converted and how many tokens have they already reserved for other things, so that I can see, okay, well, you put 100 on this cosplay helmet and you have 50 left over that you haven't assigned, so therefore you've got 150 tokens, 50 of them are unassigned, so any exchange that you do is going to be 1,600 minus that 150, so you can still convert up to 1,450 tokens worth of points. The other thing is like the likelihood that someone's going to have 16,000 points. I mean, this month I've been really generous with that give all command where I'm like giving everybody points. So there's been a lot of opportunity for people to gain points this month. I may not be as free with handing out those points in, yeah, break out the slide rule, I know, right? You know, in October, I may change that up and not be like, oh yeah, you know, 100 points here, 200 points there, 1,000 points here, whatever. I may not do that in October unless we hit milestones, and we'll just say like, you know, every $100 worth of donations, everybody gets 100 points or something. But for this month, like, I don't care. I'm just giving stuff away anyway. So, hey, Jamie, thank you for the follow. Appreciate that. I think with the points, you're turning into tokens because you want to use them. Yep. So if you don't use them, I mean, you're losing them either way. So if you have tokens and you don't assign them to a prize, then it's like, why did you convert those into tokens in the first place? You weren't going to actually turn around and reserve them for a prize. That's silly. So yeah, I mean, you would hope that people are kind of making that connection, that they're not just converting like, I compare this a little bit to Brett's channel, Amish Ace, where you have points, you convert them into tickets, and you can only have up to 1,000 tickets. You can't go beyond that. You can still gain extra points, but you can't gain extra tickets for the giveaway. And once the month is over, he sets everything back to 0, including your old points. And you know, I certainly want to build controls to give streamers that ability as well. If you want to reset everybody back to 0 for everything, including points, so they're not rolling over points, like I want to build commands for that as well. It's not a priority for me for this month, but I may have that in place for October. And so I'm trying to think of those kinds of things for the giveaway, and trying to think of like what would other streamers want to do. So yeah, so I mean, if they convert tokens and then they don't reserve those tokens for something, then yeah, it's wasted points. Refunding those unused, unreserved tokens, like you had 100 tokens left over that you didn't put towards any prize, converting those back into points would be a nice thing to do. It wouldn't be that much more work on my side, because right now I've got to run a query that says just go set everything to 0. I could just run a query and say for everybody that had tokens, you know, instead of set them to 0 anyway, but take that value, calculate however many points that was based on whatever ratio, and convert them back into points and carry those points over. That would be the nice sort of classy thing to do. That way users, they can just come in and they can just max out all their tokens and they know they're going to get the points back for next time anyway. But part of me wants to give the user that choice. If you choose to turn them into tokens, you should use the tokens. If you choose not to turn them into tokens, that's okay too. I kind of feel like this is, it's almost like micromanaging it too much. Like it would be like, you know, Sim City, where you've got like your residential and your industrial and your commercial, but you're kind of taking it like a layer deeper, where you're saying like the residential, you know, you've got like the high density, low density residential, and the low density, high density industrial, and low density, high density commercial. I kind of feel like I'm doing that. And I don't want to get too micromanagey about like having all these different things that you as the user have to know and understand and whatever. So I'm trying to balance the simplicity for the people entering the giveaways and giving the streamer kind of more control and more access into how they want to do a giveaway, and give them that flexibility. This might also be something where, you know, I give kind of the core giveaway stuff away, and then I license out like, you know, some other block of code, and say like, oh, if you want this extra feature or whatever, like I'll come in and I'll set that up for you or something at, you know, some amount of money or something as a consultant, and set that up for you as a streamer. And now you've got access to all these additional controls if that's what you want. So if Brett wants like just the core giveaway, like convert points into tickets and whatever, and still max that thing out, that, you know, we can do that too. what I don't like about Stream Elements, especially on Brett's channel, is when I go in and I do tickets max and it says you can't. It just throws you back an error. Or I say tickets 100 and it says nope, didn't work. It's like I have no idea why. I have no way within Stream Elements to see how many tickets I have. Like how many points did I convert into tickets? Because it's a one-to-one kind of thing, but there's no way to look that up. There used to be a page where you could go and see that, but they don't have it, or at least I can't find that URL anymore. And so it's discouraging, you know. Now I'm basically just sitting until I know I have 1,000 points, and then I just do tickets 1,000, and I know I'm maxed out, and then I don't think about it ever again. I don't even look at my points after that. But it's discouraging when you can't look that kind of stuff up, and that's why I built the points command and the tokens command so that you can actually see how many points do you actually have, how many tokens do you actually have, how have you reserved those tokens. Like I wanted to give a little more visualization of that, and I know that it fills up chat with a lot of chatter as well. I wish there was a way that we could respond in a whisper to the user, but Twitch took away that ability. So I have no way for my bot to whisper the user and say, here's how many points you have, here's how many tokens you have, or here's how to use the tokens command or anything like that. Like I don't have a good way of doing that through whispers. I would really prefer to do that through whispers so people don't have to have all this stuff live in chat. They can just send a whisper over to the bot and like do all that kind of stuff. That would be ideal. But they took away that ability. So. All right, I'm going to change that channel point redemption. So I'm going to change it from 10,000 to 25. I'm going to change it to something else. Let's go find Streamer.bot and let's go change that up. So we got the platform, we got channel point rewards, got the giveaway entries. Do I multiply by 10 and say every 10,000 is worth 250 giveaway points? So the last I checked, most users in my stream that don't do like regular channel point redemptions, they all have somewhere between 50 and 100,000 channel points. So the other limitation is I only wanted you to be able to do this once per stream. So you're not sitting in here like filling up chat with like convert another 10,000, convert another 10,000, convert another 10,000. I wanted it to be like once per stream per user kind of thing. There is a way in Stream Elements, you just have to be logged in. Oh, you have to be logged into Stream Elements. That's interesting, because if I'm in his chat and then I go over to the giveaway screen, I don't see it. So there's an additional login I need to do. But when I go over to Stream Elements, it sees who I am, but I still don't see how many tickets I actually have. So that's why I wanted to make a chat command to actually pull that up, that I didn't have to go to another page and like wait for that to load and, you know, have to authenticate somewhere else. I'm already in chat. Just tell me in chat. And again, I would love for that to be like a whisper kind of thing where you know, if you put something in chat, the bot can send you a whisper and then you just interact with the bot over a whisper, kind of like a private chat bot kind of thing. That would be most ideal, because then you're not filling up this chat window over here with all the spam of stuff, and it would be easier to see like legit messages coming by. If you click the giveaway link and log in, okay. So I've clicked the link. I thought I had logged in on Stream Elements. I'll have to double check that next time I'm in his channel. What's the next thing on my to-do list? Oh, I was going to change that 10,000 to something else. So 10,000 to 250. So I multiply by 10. 10,000 channel points to 250. Because again, you know, if somebody's got 100,000 tokens or 100,000 channel points, they could now turn that into 2,500 giveaway points, which is 250 tokens, which could max them out for a single prize for this month. Did we get a real raid? Did we get a real raid that time? We were testing our raid bot earlier. I think we just got an actual, like, for real raid. Did we get a real raid? We did. Coding with Strangers really actually raided in with 13 people. Welcome over, everybody. Welcome in. I'm Ian Douglas. You saw it, so you wanted to test it. Sweet. Well, I appreciate that. So we just got it working. So congratulations. Wait, did it work? Wait, something broke. Or did it work? It didn't store in Airtable. Curious, sir. All right. Bear with me. Let me make sure this worked. Coding with Strangers. Me, M, Stinky. Thanks for dropping by. It's not a bug, it's a feature. No, it's a bug. It's definitely a bug. Coding with Strangers. Let me look up your user ID here. Is Coding with Strangers. How was your stream tonight? Everything go good? What kind of stuff were you doing on your stream? Let me see whether this command will work. Visual shout out for Coding with Strangers. There we go. Oh, except I gotta hide my little giveaway instructions over there. Oh, doing some digital art, it looks like. Sweet. Yeah, I think we raided over to your channel a couple of weeks ago, if I remember right. We raided over and we hung out with you for a little bit. Oh, there it goes. So it just showed up in Airtable, which means it did show up over here. Did we see a chat message saying that you were entered in a giveaway? Yes, we did. Okay, so everything worked properly then. So everything worked fine. Cool. So two things happen when you raid over to my channel now. You get put in a quarterly giveaway that I do just for people that raid over to my stream as a way of saying thanks for bringing your community over. And then the other thing, we're in the month of July. We're doing like tons of giveaways. We already did our giveaway for today, though, so don't just ignore this little giveaway thing down here. But we're giving stuff away all month of July, and we've got some really big prizes, like big kind of like 3D printed things and other non-3D printed things. Like I got a cosplay helmet on there as a gift. I've got things like a giant dragon head trophy. Kind of thing that hangs on your wall that I've airbrushed. I've got another smaller one that I've 3D printed in resin. So there's this dragon, and he basically like hovers over a building kind of thing. So he's like, imagine he's like wrapped around that building, and I'm gonna airbrush the dragon. I've got like another like monstrous dragon, like monstrous by size. This is just one of the wings to give you an idea of like how big that dragon is, and that's also going to be custom airbrushed. We got Lego kits, and because we hit some milestones for STEM to the Future, we're giving away a 3D printer. If we can get to $3,000, I'm going to add another 3D printer on there. We're going to have the founder of STEM to the Future on the stream sometime early next week. So yeah, we got all kinds of stuff that we're giving away. And so part of rating in here is I'm giving you a chunk of points, giveaway points, for bringing your community over. So every user that comes over is going to be worth some amount of points. And we were just talking about like how many points per user. You know, do I give you 5 points for every user you bring over? Should I give you 10 points for every user you bring over? So Ghost, I was leaning more towards the 10-to-1 per user, because then every user you bring over is worth 1 token towards one of the prize giveaways. So I kind of like to stay on the 10-to-1 ratio with all those kinds of things. So I'm going to go like bump up your specific points here. So let me go look that up here. Use raids. Let's see. 13 viewers. Yep, that actually worked. Got the stream ID. Got 13 people over. Okay, good. That worked. So I need to go delete that row. Save. All right. So I need to go find your points entry. So 19534. 19534. Go find your points. 19534. One. Different way. So select a star from your points. User points UID is equal to users.uid, and users.username is like coding with strangers. Let's see if that'll run. Oh, good. Got it first shot. All right, so we were giving you 20 raid points. You brought over 13 people, so I'm going to bump that up to 130. And we're going to give you... Wait, why can't I change that row? Your user ID. Let me grab that. So I'm going to go update user points, set raid points equal to 130, where UID is equal to that number. There we go. All right. So now you got points. You got points. Well, you should have been here Saturday. We were giving away like hundreds and thousands of points at a time for all the donations and stuff coming in. I basically said for every $50 that comes in, I would eat a teaspoon of hot sauce, and I lost count of how many teaspoons of like ghost pepper sauce and cayenne pepper sauce and habanero sauce and whatever I was consuming over the course of the night. We raised like $1,100 or $1,200 just Saturday night alone. I lost count of how many spoonfuls of hot sauce I took. But then every $50 donation was also worth 250 points to everybody. So we were giving out just tons and tons of points. Yeah, appreciate you bringing your community over. Thanks for that. Before it was carved, Mount Rushmore's natural beauty was unprecedented. There we go. Ghost with the dad jokes. I miss your jokes, dude. Yeah, Milsig and I are big fans of dad jokes. So yeah, we raised a ton of money, and then Sunday we raised even more. So we got like a 3D printer in as a prize because we hit a milestone. We added a cosplay helmet. If we get $2,500, or when we hit $2,000, I'm going to add another helmet. When we hit $2,500, I'm going to do a whole set of 3D printed lightsaber hilts with like collapsible blades inside. And we've got Ahsoka Tano from Clone Wars. I've got Obi-Wan Kenobi. I've got a Sith lightsaber. I got a Princess Leia lightsaber. I might have access to a Mace Windu lightsaber and Rey's lightsaber from The Force Awakens. And I'm going to print like one of each of those and like custom airbrush them and whatever as a giveaway as well, if we can get to 2,500. And then at 3,000, I'm going to add a resin 3D printer. So should be pretty fun. If we can continue to raise money for STEM to the future, I think it'd be a lot of fun. It's going to put a lot of work on me to like get all this stuff like printed and airbrushed and stuff like that. So I'm going to have to download the models and stuff. And if it doesn't end up being one of the milestones, then I'll just sell them on my website. So, but yeah, so that's kind of what we got going on around here. We're just doing tons of giveaways. So we're trying to figure out like some of the math of like the ratios of points and all that kind of stuff for people. So I need to go update my code to give you a 10-to-1 per user. So in the code over here, let's see, which code would that be in? That would be over here where we're assigning points for the raid. So if you bring over more than 2 people, we're going to give you 10 points per user, not 1.5 points. And then as long as we assign you points, we're going to add that over to this table. And then we should be good to go at that point. And the reason I'm doing this is just so that people don't raid over with a party of 1, because we had a problem with that, because the quarterly giveaway that I do for people that raid in, people realized that they were getting entered into a giveaway for streamers that raid over their community. And what was happening is people were raiding over with a party of one, which is just somebody going to their own raid or their own Twitch page and going into their own chat and raiding into my channel just so they could get put in that giveaway. My bot was already like taking out everybody that raided over with a party of one anyway. But now we're, in this code right here, we're saying like, only if you have 2 or more, then we're going to give you like some chunk of points. Now, if you have, if you're like, oh, I'm just going to set up an alt account and like bring that over, it's not like you're getting a huge number of points and tokens. So it'll be a little bit harder to game the system. And I've got logging and auditing and things like that. So if somebody is legit trying to game the system, I can just go in and just shut them down in my database and say like, this person can't enter the giveaways. And so it'll just block them out in the future anyway. So it's not a big deal. But in ancient Rome, there were 4 types of poison. Poison 1, poison 2, and poison 3 would vary in degrees of pain. However, poison ivy would make you really itchy. Ghost, did you know that that over in Athens, people like to sleep in until noon? Turns out that dawn is tough on Greece. So we got all those. I do need to go back through my log because we had 2 big raids come in on Saturday, one with like 50 plus people, one with 90 plus people. And so I need to go back in and make sure that those people get the appropriate amount of points as well in case they want to do the giveaways. Yeah, Ghost and I, like, yeah. If you do exclamation point dad joke or exclamation point joke, it's going to call an API that I wrote where I'm storing all of these in my database. I've got something like 200 dad jokes or something in there. So if you do exclamation point joke or exclamation point dad joke, it'll pull up a goofy little joke for you. All right, so what happened over here? All right, tracking everything. Sweet. So yeah, so it's also tracking like who's actively watching, and then you're gaining points just from lurking in the background as well. So I'm going to have to go pretty soon though, because I've got an early morning meeting tomorrow. I have a team meeting at like 8 a.m. my time every Wednesday. And then I've got that at 8. I've got a webinar at 8:30 that I'm moderating, and then I've got a one-on-one with my new manager right after that at like 10:30 or 11 or something. So I got a whole bunch of meetings back to back. So I'm going to have to like get out of here myself and go raid into someone else. So we'll go do that in a minute. In the meantime, let's go give everybody else some giveaway points here. So I'll just say give all 100. So everybody just gets 100 points. There you go. On me. Enjoy. It says 40 users. That's just because Streamer.bot lags a little bit with who's actively watching the channel. But hey, all of those people just got a whole bunch of extra points just for hanging out with us tonight and saying hello. Let's see. So when we look at the agenda and the to-do list of what I was hoping to get done today, we got a lot of that stuff finished up. We're trying to figure out how to sort of protect users from themselves as far as like exchanging those points into tokens. So I think I'm going to work on this one next time. So I think if they try to exchange more than the sum total of all the things, that it's going to block them from doing it. I would love to get a cron job that like regularly kind of calculates everybody's points, because right now when you do exclamation point points, it's literally going and like looking at all this stuff in the database and calculating it. And so it takes several seconds to come back and say, this is how many points you have. It's not a huge amount of time, but I could speed it up if I had something that was just constantly churning in the background, like calculating this stuff. It's not a very scalable thing if you've got thousands of users, but it's a local process running on a local database. It's fairly fast. Like it would take a few seconds at most for everybody. But right now, when you do exclamation point points, it's going and calculating all of your individual points every single time. And when you want to do an exchange or you want to see how many tokens you have, it's literally going out every time and like counting all this stuff over and over again. And I want to try to get away from that if I can, just to speed it up, because I do want other streamers to use this code later in the year. And so this is kind of the test run of like ironing out all the bugs and trying to figure out what these ratios should be and stuff like that. to try to figure out the best way of doing this, where it's fair to the users, gives the users choice of, you can choose to convert your points into tokens or not. And then you can choose which of the prizes you want to put your tokens towards as well. Now, I could say if there's only one prize, then you don't have to reserve tokens. But if there are multiple prizes, then you should have the choice over like which of those prizes you actually get as a giveaway. So we're going to continue to work on this on Tuesdays. This is basically like the ongoing Tuesday night live coding kind of thing. Thursday, I'll be back and I'll be airbrushing because we got a ton of stuff to airbrush and 3D print still. Actually, no, most of the 3D printing is done now. So Thursdays for the foreseeable future are going to be airbrushing the stuff that we do have. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. Cool. Let's go see who else is hanging out tonight. See who we can go bug. Normally I like to raid into someone else that's doing coding. Let's see who else is doing. Who else has got stuff going on? We got somebody else doing some. Oh no, they just ended their streams. Never mind. So doing software. Okay. Also doing software that I know. She's doing some MMO. She looks more like she's playing a game than coding her game. Lots of makers and crafters on. Not too many other people doing code. Ada Alan. Launching a new website. Tune in to find out. Yeah, we'll go right over to Alan. We haven't raided over there in a minute. So do me a favor. Hang out in chat for a sec. Because I do love me some dad jokes. And so this is our raid message. It's going to go grab a dad joke for us. Yeah, this will be a good one to do. So we're going to go set up a raid over to the id of Alan. Please copy that raid message for me and paste that in chat when we get over to Alan. And we'll catch everybody over there. I'll see everybody Thursday night. My father-in-law is going to be in town, so I'm not sure if I'm going to stream exactly on time or if it'll be a little bit later, but I will stream Thursday night at some point. So yeah, thanks for hanging out and thanks for helping me like test this stuff and for all your thoughts about ratios and math and stuff like that. I appreciate it. We'll set up that raid. Intended for mature audiences. All right. I tend to keep it family friendly, but we'll catch everybody over there and we'll see you at some point on Thursday. Have a good night, everyone. Cheers.